This is S4 with your host, Eric Cooper.
Greetings, folks, and welcome to S4, where we talk about the real issues involving paranormal and current events, coming to you live from the S4 headquarters in the heart of the Cascade Mountains of Washington State. We also cover topics such as disaster and terrorist response and preparation and veterans issues as appropriate. So what's appropriate mean? Oh, well, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, and any other kind of veterans or military issue day. So tonight, it's the 23rd of February, and it's Roundtable. But tonight, it's just a few of us. Because, well, tonight was supposed to be locals. It was supposed to be a local roundtable, but none of the locals could show up. Next week, we will have John on the show. He's our truck driver that actually took the UFO photo. So tonight, it's a very small panel. It's just myself, Cole, Kayla, and Eric Markham, our scientist. And you know what? I'm actually a little bit pissed off anyway. No, pissed off's not a bad word.
I know.
So how you doing tonight, Markham? Is it snowing yet?
I'm doing fine. We had snow a couple days ago. Snowed all day. Probably had a couple inches on the ground. It's gone.
So
you were North Carolina.
So you were asking me earlier today, isn't snow normal here? Snow, you know what? It varies. We always get snow in the mountains. I mean, that's a normal one. Yeah, we do.
Snow doesn't vary; it flurries.
Oh,
yeah.
that was a horrible.
We need a rim shot. We need a rim shot sound clip.
No, but we don't. You know, in the last.
Yeah, I don't have one of those. Sorry.
I guess the last 4 years we've actually gotten snow on the lowland, but we usually it all varies. You know, this year we got about a foot in December. Was it December we got about a foot?
Yeah.
But not much.
No, last year at this time,
Last year we got
in February was when we got ours last year.
It just I'm used to. Well, I grew up in Michigan, and it would start to snow sometimes as early as late September. But then, you know, by the end of I've had, you know, Halloween nights where there was a dusting of snow on the ground. And it pretty much, once the ground got white, it stayed that way till spring. You know, by November, it was usually, you knew it. You knew winter was here,
right?
And it stayed that way till sometimes. I can't remember. It would have been mid to late 70s. We had it hit us on our spring break, and we went all spring break through snowstorms and actually got a week off after spring break because it was, and it had to be blowing, putting a lot down because in Michigan, they never called school in my district. In fact, our superintendent of schools had some kind of four-wheel drive vehicle, and if a teacher called out, he would go get them.
Yeah.
And if he could get to their doorstep and then bring them in, he would dock their salary for that time. I know. So this guy was real draconian about it. And we actually got like a week after spring break. It was that bad.
I know here they go out. I believe the school superintendent goes out about 4 o'clock in the morning to check road conditions, and that's when they make the determination. Then we usually get telephonic phone recording about 5:30 if it's either a 2-hour delay or if there's no school. That's how they do it up here. But here, yeah,
We
they're
just have to
draconian
listen
up
to the
here as
radio.
well. Huh?
I remember getting up and not quite getting dressed, waiting to hear. And a lot of times, my mom worked in the Brandywine School District, which was over by Niles, Michigan, and they would call it, and she'd have a snow day, and I wouldn't. And I thought that was just heinous as it could be. And as an adult, once I started raising stepkids, it's like a day off where you don't have to go in and the kids do. I got my mom, I guess is what I'm saying. It's like, well, that's not fair. If you get to stay home, I get, no, off you go.
Right.
Yeah, that was.
And, I can't wait to get in the garden. I can't wait to get the tilling done. I can't wait to get the seeds in. I can't wait to garden. I'm done with snow.
I'm building.
You're building?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, you're building a hot tub with a sky watch.
The deck.
Yep. So we are going to have a Skywatch deck just for telescopes and watching for pouring.
And hot tubbing.
Huh?
And hot tubbing.
I'll tell you what, I was amazed at how sturdy a structure has to be to put a high-power telescope up on it. It's the slightest breeze, the slightest bump. I mean, it's you see them. I've got a 8-inch Smith Casagrande. It's an old LX10, which why they didn't call it an LX8, I don't know, but it's an LX10, old school that you actually have to align on the pole star and do all that, stuff with. It's not self-aligning. But, boy, once you put a high-power eyepiece in there,
Right.
you don't even want to breathe when you're looking through that thing.
Huh. Well, you're going to have to teach us a thing or two about telescopes then.
Well, I'll bring, I'm planning on getting over there before I get back to work. I'm taking a few months off, and I think I'm going to try and get out there. I'll bring both of them. I'll bring the LX10 and I'll bring I've got a old Orion XT8. No clockwork, no motor drive. You just look through it and push it around where you want it to go. And you guys like that, I might just leave it there for you.
Oh, right on.
It's an 8-inch, another 8-inch scope. You see a little definition on Jupiter, the moons of Jupiter, things like the Orion Nebula.
Mm-hmm.
I think what a lot of people like me that got in, I finally got my, my Holy Grail telescope. I got my Smith Casagrande. You aim it up there, and it's like, well, this ain't nothing like what the pictures look like.
Right.
Yeah. So it's, a lot of the stuff you see in the books with all the color is an artifact of the time-lapse photography. When you're looking at it, it doesn't look, nebulas don't look like that.
Oh, we can see Nibiru.
Yeah, that'd be something.
I don't think there is a Nibiru. I guess we'll find out.
They've been talking about that forever. Like there's a 10th planet, or there's something in exact opposition around the other side of the sun from us. And I think we've got enough satellites. We've done enough that if there really was one, I think we'd have seen
Here's
it by
my
now.
problem, though. So I have no doubt there probably is a Nibiru up there, but is it gonna hit the damn planet? You know how many dates I've seen where Nibiru's gonna crash into the planet?
Hey, Sandra. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Sandra. Good to see you.
That just kills me. Not you, Sandra. I'm talking about Nibiru.
Well, we're about due. We are about due for one of those.
And if it does hit the
been a
planet,
few months.
it's gonna kill you. Like,
Yeah, but you know how many doomsdayers sit there, and it makes you wonder how many doomsdayers say never is going to hit the planet. They actually have a survival website, so you can start buying their food and their gear.
None of the flat earthers say that. 'Cause
like that's going to help.
They think it's gonna pass right underneath it.
Oh,
Now, if the Atlantic coastline moves 200 or 300 feet miles inland,
right.
at my elevation where I'm living right now, I should be set. I should have oceanfront property in that.
Well,
I'm high enough
you just
elevation,
move
but
here. And,
it'd have to flood like Noah flood to affect me.
in theory, we're going to have oceanfront property here at headquarters if, the ocean rises. We'll see.
Nah. We just
Nah.
need the dam to go, and then everybody.
We can go fishing at the dam.
Riverfront property.
Right?
No, then it's just ocean property.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah, you're not that far from the river anyway. You're within walking distance.
that
Oh, I
breaks-
can
oh yeah,
see it
definitely.
off
We're
the porch.
100 feet off
Yeah.
the river right now.
You guys are. So I'm going to open up the round table now. I rarely do that, but I'm got some pet peeves that have been just at the forefront here, and I'm sorry. I've been and this is going to affect some of you because, well, some of you have your own paranormal teams, and I want to make you think. I'm not here to piss you off. I want you to think. What defines the paranormal? And if I go to a paranormal investigative team, I would expect more than you looking for ghosts. I guess that's my main point. Because I see so many, and they hate to be called Ghostbusters. So, call yourself a supernatural team. Supernatural more or less defines entities and ghosts and spirits, things of that nature. Not paranormal. Hauntings and ghosts are part of the paranormal, but so is Bigfoot, cryptids, UFOs, alien abduction, Earth mysteries, missing people 401. A whole lot of there's a whole big gamut to being a paranormal investigator. Not just looking for Casper. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm going to start with the word paranormal is tossed around way too much. Because the actual definition of paranormal is anything outside the realm of normal.
Anything outside the realm of science, anything outside the realm of...
Not even science. That's not in the definition. Normal.
It should be.
It's not, though.
No, I get that.
So if it's not, though, like, that's the thing. You right there just took the definition and changed it.
Okay. But either way, even looking at the dictionary definition, outside the realm of normal. UFOs aren't normal. Bigfoot's definitely not normal. Mothman, that's not normal.
No.
Neither is my neighbor that lives right down the road. But I'm not going to call it paranormal either.
Oh,
Why?
Yeah, he might be.
he's a parahuman.
He's a parahuman.
You've never been there. Right? You've never actually met him. Not really.
Not really.
So
Yeah.
therefore, he, right now, at this point, it's like UFO. Everyone automatically says, oh, frick, it's aliens. Well,
Yeah.
no, it's an unidentified flying object.
It could be a plant.
Therefore,
it could be a weather balloon. It could be a swamp gas.
until you know it, it is not aliens.
Yep. Absolutely. What's your thoughts, Marco?
Well, I've always thought we were unique as a paranormal group in that we encompassed anything you just don't normally encounter in your day-to-day life. We've called paranormal. And, you know, that's pretty much the definition I've always held up to. I mean,
Right.
that includes your ghosts, your cryptids, your missing time, your, I've got another case where I think I've slipped through another reality again because I've come up with more. I had something else happen about 2 weeks ago that I know damn well something was a certain way, and now it's not.
A Mandela effect?
And, so I've had several encounters with the Mandela effect.
Okay.
So,
Rabbit hole.
I mean, but that all falls into what we would call paranormal.
I guess.
I mean, that's just, if it's not run-of-the-mill, everyday stuff that happens to you as you're just going through your workaday existence, to me, it's paranormal.
Right. And you know, even if they're just ghost busting, they're still paranormal. I get that, and I'm not trying to be petty here. But if I just saw a Bigfoot, if I just saw any kind of cryptid, or if I just saw a UFO, and I see a team that is calling themselves paranormal investigators, and you go running to them, and they say, oh, "We don't believe in UFOs. We look for Casper." You know, it's misleading to me.
I don't know. It's sort of a chicken and the egg thing with me because I don't know if I'm having more encounters since I'm open to them,
And
or were they already happening? You know, I almost feel like I've just become more receptive, or maybe I'm looking for it. You know, I had the encounters when I was very young.
Mm-hmm.
The distorted faces that were looking down at me that scared the crap out of me when I was a little kid. You know, I've had some things that were probably ghost encounters, you know, but probably about, I think it was 15 years ago. That's a bad thing about stuff like, you know, I honestly believe people should keep diaries because, you know, I've had this seminal event happen in my life, and I can't pin the year down anymore. As I get older, the encounter itself is just as vivid as ever.
Right.
But, you know, the time in the morning that it happened, you know, I'm not sure about that. What year it was, you know, there's the details slip away. But once you have that, you have that unequivocal, in-your-face moment. You have that encounter. Say you see Bigfoot, or you encounter what can only be considered a ghost. You know, something that doesn't exist or isn't supposed to exist, and damn sure didn't exist in any of my college textbooks.
Right. Oh, no.
When you have that moment.
Right.
When you have that moment, you have to ask yourself, okay, so this isn't supposed to be real. I now know that it is real. So some of this other... The only thing I guess I have a knee-jerk reaction about being complete BS is channeling. I am just completely closed-minded about channeling because there are so many charlatans out there duping people with this whole channeling thing. I can't get past my own personal prejudice about that. But just about everything else. I mean, spirit mediumship, which I guess is kind of like channeling, but not.
But that's the issue.
I
We
guess
all
with
have
mediumship,
personal prejudices that we can't get past. Everyone does.
Yeah.
Right. And that's mine. Channeling, and so like that guy had his. I don't want to cause any grief or call anybody out, but there was a famous guy on TV not too long, some years ago, and it came out that he was just throwing so much crap out there and watching cold reading. If he got a reaction off some of the bull crap he was saying, he would zoom in on that person. And if you ever watch an episode where the person he zoomed in on is like, no, he immediately just sort of, like he distracts his audience by finding somebody that the poo stuck to. So,
I think that's what you got to look at, even with channeling. What? First and foremost, is there money involved?
Yeah.
Second, Second of all, what's the motivation? Why do they do it? Do they do it because they're trying to find that popular niche or that famous niche? Are they trying to get a TV show out of it? You know, look at the motivation. Why do they do it? If they say they're doing it to help people, okay, I'll pay attention. But I'll look for, faults.
Most of the people I've ever encountered that have that kind of gift don't really look on it too much as a gift, and they're kind of unwilling participants.
Right.
I knew a medium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and she didn't ask for it. She didn't. She really didn't want to discuss it much. She didn't make her living with it. She was a pretty staunch Catholic, and it got so bad that she left her house. Some entity got in there that she couldn't fight against, and she ended up leaving.
Right.
I'm like, hey, bring it. Yeah, I'm more like, hey, be quiet, don't mess with my cat, and if you wake me up, there's hell to pay. That's
live
and let live with my spooks.
And that's a lot of them. We had a lot of cases when we were handling emergency response cases that the people were living in a hotel because they couldn't go back home. Or they couldn't go to sleep at night because they were terrified because they were being touched and pulled on and whatnot. That's what defines an emergency case.
Right.
But, yeah, I just think calling yourself a paranormal investigator team means that you should actually encompass the paranormal, not just one aspect of it. I guess that's my main point.
Well, I think that we've always done a good job of that. I mean,
we
go
cover
out there.
that. We cover the whole
when
aspect.
I'm boots on the ground out there, what do? We go, we do crypto, we do, hauntings. It's not a matter of we just go after ghosts. We've always, matter of fact, when I've been out there, it's been more cryptozoology, going up on the local mountain and looking for evidence, doing, sweeps. And I do think the last time we went up there was something just out of range.
Absolutely. We're going back
mountain
up.
lion or I don't know what
there.
it was, and I'm not going to say we saw something, but something was stalking us.
Now, I get
know.
the fact that you take issue with the fact that someone can believe in ghosts and not aliens. But
no,
let's say
I don't.
I'm talking about Coop here. But let's say that you have a paranormal investigator who has that personal prejudice. For them to take on any kind of alien case, wouldn't that be a hindrance to the actual person they're trying to help? Their own personal prejudice not being able to be withheld.
Yes and no.
Yes, exactly, because you've got that person as sort of a negative control.
I wouldn't want someone like that taking alien cases, taking cryptid cases either.
But that's my
Well, I would say
point.
you have to have somebody like that to bounce ideas off of.
I'll use an analogy.
Because generally,
medically,
Huh?
I would not want a foot doctor.
Looking at my brain?
Yeah.
Well, no.
yeah.
But a foot doctor calls himself
Well,
a podiatrist.
you got to have a good skeptic, because if everybody goes in there, and I've had personal encounters, personal experience with this in other groups. If you go into a situation where everybody is on the same sheet of music, it's too easy to agree, to reach false. You've got too much positive bias. When you go in there with a mixed team, I would say you got to have that dissenting voice.
Right.
You got to have that, because that person is going to come up and say, well, no, it could be this. Okay, rule what they're saying out. Say, okay, you say it could be this. And you go through and logically, scientifically, if you will, rule that out.
And
That just
you know,
builds your case that much better.
having the skeptic on the team is ideal because they keep it balanced. But in answer to your analogy, a foot doctor calls himself a podiatrist. You don't go to a neurologist for your foot. You go to a podiatrist. A brain doctor calls himself usually a neurologist. So if I'm looking for a ghost team, if I have a haunting situation, I'm usually going to go look for the team that calls himself a haunting team, not a paranormal investigator team.
But a paranormal investigative team is, at this point, kind of the only name for them. There, like, what?
No, there's a lot of teams I saw that actually specified and said, we are a haunting team, we are a ghost team. That's what I'm looking for. That's
Like Haunted Crew of Canada.
right.
So
Mike
you
Morris.
want them to specify that when...
Exactly. Because if I've been abducted by an alien, if I saw a Bigfoot, and I don't know about BFRO, or a specified Bigfoot team, but I know it's paranormal, so I'm going to go look for a paranormal investigator team. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't believe in Bigfoot, and we don't deal with that. That's not our interest. We deal with spirits. My other thing, so how many cases did we do that didn't have spirits? They had fae. Fae followed her paranormal. So I don't give a damn. You know, you go to a paranormal house, a haunted house. You don't know what's going to be there. You don't know if it's going to be a spirit or a negative entity or a fae. You don't know. So in all fairness, yeah, they're going to go respond to a haunting. They don't know what it is, and if they've never encountered a fae, have fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because that's old Earth power that these normal haunting crews not going to be
no,
capable of dealing with, or even have an idea how to deal with.
no, and usually those are the teams that go, "Oh shit, we don't know what that was, so we're gonna look for somebody else to help us," and that's a good team. A bad team's gonna go, "Oh, poke, poke, poke! Hey, answer us, you son of a..." Yeah, they're gonna provoke it, and well, you don't know how many times we've had cases where there were like 3 different teams at one end, and a lot of these teams they'll watch Ghost Adventures, they'll watch Taps, and they'll go, "That looks fun. Let's go see if we can do it." And so they'll go to this client's house, and I'm going to say this too, most of your fringe teams will last maybe 1 or 2 years, and then they'll just go away. That's a good thing. But until that time, they're going to go to a client's house, and it might be a mundane. There might not be nothing there. They're going to be disappointed, and that's why a lot of the fringe teams go away, because a lot of times you won't find anything. And they didn't show you
You
that.
don't want to be the token scientist on that kind of team either.
No.
When you show that the rocking chair is actually a heat run that's got a deflector on it, and it's causing the chair to rock when the heat comes on, everybody gets angry because they wanted it to be the ghost, and they're me and my scientific dumbass just, it's the air coming out of the vent hitting that big headboard on that rocking chair.
Exactly. And they don't show you that on Ghost TV. You know, something happens every time they go out on Ghost TV. You know, whether it's the director pulling the door open or...
Well, yes, it does.
It has to.
It has to, though. And that's the thing is, so for every time that we've seen a show where something happens, who's to say that they haven't gone to 17 different locations and done filming and haven't caught anything?
Right.
Who is it that does that?
Huh?
So they're only going to put the ones on that are...
A good example of that is Gold Rush.
Okay.
When you watch that show, you got to think that's 2 weeks compressed into half an hour or 45 minutes. Friend, that's over.
Well, that's the same with any fishing shows.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
You watch Bill Dance Outdoors, and it looks like, man, as soon as his ass hit the water, he was hauling fish in.
Right.
That could be 2 weeks in one spot
Yeah.
to get those 7 fish they catch in that half hour. You know, it's
Well,
But I will say
one
with
went
that,
as far as having divers hooking the fish to their.
I will say with that, not always. Because I've had days like that where every time we touched the water with a hook, a fish leapt into it.
Uh-huh.
Friend,
Right.
The fishing, you can't count on that one, because that one, you can have a really good day, you can have a really bad day, you could lose your boat. You never know.
Right.
No, but you gotta admit,
Well,
nobody's
Dan
gonna watch a
admitted-
movie.
Bill Dance admitted on some of those, that, yeah, he makes it look easy, but the truth of the matter is they were out there for a week to get that footage. And if you watch, you'll notice, like, the sky's a different color. There's continuity things they try and keep up with, but they're not, they're not perfect, and you see the little tells that, okay,
It's
that's
like
a
the
different
first
day,
year of
or,
Survivor. They accidentally showed the hotel in the background.
yeah.
But don't you think that's misleading? You got the newbie that's never seen paranormal before, and it seems like something's going to happen every time we go out. Because they don't show you the 17 other places they've gone to.
I do not believe that's misleading. Because if you don't realize you're watching a goddamn idiot box, guess what? You deserve whatever you get.
Yeah, but I feel bad for the clients.
Yeah, that's kind of true. I think the problem is, though, and like Eric was saying, a lot of the fringe groups, the people aren't really into it. They go out there expecting catch that EVP every time, or to have something go bump in the night, and they make it look like, well, we set up at dusk and we hauled out of there about 4 in the morning. 3 hours later we've got all this. No, come on now. No, there's almost no place. Even my haunted house I lived in was active every day.
Right.
And you're not going to catch all this incontrovertible evidence in one 4-hour session. It could happen.
It didn't
but it's
happen.
not going to happen every time.
It didn't happen only at 3 a.m.?
Well, it's like...
Seriously?
So when did it change from midnight to 3 a.m.? I'm just wondering, because seriously, it used to be the witching hour is midnight, and now it's 3 a.m.
Because it was Eastern time is midnight.
Oh, okay. So
no, I don't know.
All the daylight savings and everything, right?
That's a good question, because the witching hour was always midnight.
It was always midnight, and then all of a sudden it became 3 a.m., and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. How is there a 3-hour difference in witching time now?
I would actually look at that, because I guarantee you, I can't guarantee this, but I bet you anything from Salem, Massachusetts to England might be 3 hours.
Yeah.
So if England's 3 a.m., Salem, Massachusetts would be midnight.
Check my world time. I can't
do that
remember,
for me, please. That's awesome.
3 or 4. I think it's 4-hour difference between New York City and London.
But does that throw daylight savings in there too?
I don't know what areas all follow daylight savings, because I know
I don't think spirits follow daylight savings either.
Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan doesn't here in Canada. And so I don't know if there's any other places across the world that don't do daylight savings time.
Right.
I'm not sure.
Oh, they don't do it in South Bend, Indiana. They don't do it in Arizona. There's a lot of places that don't do it. So that was a real problem with me when I worked out in Bullhead City, Arizona. Set up was going by my phone. Well, my phone was pinging off a tower across the river. Not even a mile away in Nevada, where they had daylight savings time.
So then, in that case,
I show up my first day of work at that lab in Blessers, thinking, hey, I'm 45 minutes late. No, or early. No, I was 45 minutes late because I was on the wrong, and just right across the river.
So does that mean spirits are looking at the clock going, oh, hell, it's midnight. We better start shaking stuff up.
Oh, no. They're following the time zones.
Huh?
I think
They're following
that's all
the time
the
zones.
way people are conditioned to think that midnight, that between, after dark, midnight, the wee hours of the morning, and part of that is pop culture. Part of that is medically, when you look at statistically, when people die, and there's like a melatonin, there's a they call it the 3 a.m. wow. It's sometimes it's a chemical thing in the brain that seems to kick in between 3 4 o'clock in the morning. Things seem to happen, and we're conditioned to expect them to happen in the dark.
Well, yeah, because you've been up all day and your mind's going crazy. By the time 3 a.m. hits, you're hallucinating stuff, and you're like, whoa. Hey.
I am not. I have been fine.
I'm usually asleep. I usually sleep right through 3 a.m. So the point is, folks, spirits and paranormal activity in general, there's no set time. You can go broad daylight at 1 in the afternoon or 1 o'clock in the morning. It really doesn't matter.
I'll also say there's no
That's
set
not true.
day.
Yeah, it is.
Don't lie. They
Either.
take the lunch hour.
No, they don't. You might take a bite out of your sandwich.
And just because it's Halloween does not mean you're going to see a ghost.
There's no veil. There is a veil, but it's not thinnest at Halloween because, I mean, hell, there's never been a jump in cases around Halloween.
I'd call it more of a sheet.
It's a sheet?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where the ghost sheet came from.
Blue sheet.
Someone stole the veil.
It's time to get a new sheet if your sheet's gotten thin.
Wow.
Oh. So, Marco, what's your first question tonight?
Okay. I guess I'm going to preface it by saying shows like this, shows like, any show that talks about the supernatural or the paranormal, we're preaching to the choir when you think about it. The people that listen to us more or less already believe, or they're at least interested in hearing about it, if they're not full converts. So you hear all this talk about disclosure or, getting that smoking gun. Do we really need it?
No.
I mean, do we really need the government to say, yes, UFOs exist? I've seen them. You've seen. Those of us that have seen them don't need somebody with a title behind their name, secretary of this or that, saying, oh, we just they really exist. We knew it already.
Mm-hmm. So
how important is it really? I mean, more and more people are looking for it, and more people are seeing it. And as far as I'm concerned, I've said this before. Those 2 weekends of flyovers in Washington, D.C. back in the, 57?
52.
I mean, 52.
Yep.
There was your damn disclosure right there. The friggin' things were caught on camera. They were in the papers. I mean, how...
Dude,
that just shows you how... Why was that not considered disclosure?
In 52, those weren't even just caught on camera. Those were caught with radar return.
Right.
I mean,
Andrews Air Force Base. I think it's Andrews is the one that... isn't that the one in D.C.? I get Edwards and Andrews mixed up in my... I guess because I've worked around
Battle of L.A.
I can answer your question there, though. You asked.
Right.
You just asked why they weren't considered disclosure. Anybody get out of the craft?
Yeah, that's where
Did they have to?
That's where the earth still came from.
No, but did anybody actually get out of the craft?
No.
Was that caught on camera?
But they actually called them UFOs.
But
Yeah,
that's
that
it.
they did,
That's
but-
all they called it.
But
It's just a UFO. That doesn't mean it's aliens.
It was unidentified. No one laid claim that it wasn't
think
Russian,
it's
it wasn't Japanese, it wasn't...
Why the hell would they lay claim? Then we know they have better weapons than us.
What if the aliens had better weapons than us?
They only
I'm
want our
pretty sure
governments
they
to
do.
know that they have better weapons than us. They don't want us to know.
everybody believes. Okay, everybody has always sat there and said that. Oh man, if people actually knew that there were aliens out there, that it would be mass hysteria and panic and everything else. I think, to be perfectly honest, that they have tried disclosure many different times in many different ways.
Look at War of the Worlds.
And it caused mass hysteria and panic. So
Okay, let's step back for a second, because right here in concrete, And we told this
It
story
caused
on
mass
S4.
hysteria and panic.
In
Right.
concrete, when Orson Welles was doing his radio show and about the alien invasion,
War of the World.
War of the World.
War of the Worlds, when they were reading it and doing it on the news right here in concrete, the power went out. Now, they can't explain why. I think a transformer blew or something mundane. But the power went out while these poor folks up here in concrete were listening to this radio broadcast. And it caused mass hysteria. People grabbed their guns because their phones went out with it when the transformers blew. Nobody got word that, and this actually hit national news about concrete Washington. But nobody knew the aliens really weren't invading. But they all came out with their guns. They was going to defend concrete to the end against an alien invasion over a radio broadcast.
But that's what I'm saying, is that they've tried in several different ways. They've tried to condition and say, hey, so let's throw this out here and see how
concrete failed.
Right? So, in the beginning, there was a lot more mass hysteria and panic than there is now. But we're getting a little bit closer with each passing.
But I do think if they came out today with new generations, more people are open to the idea. I don't think there would be mass hysteria.
I do.
Do you?
I do believe that if they came out today, you're looking at this from an American standpoint. Okay, so if it came out today, like Donald Trump or whatever came up and he said, hey, you know what? Aliens exist. This is my buddy Look from planet whatever.
No,
right?
no.
There you go. Exactly.
Yep.
And everybody saw him and, oh my gosh, aliens are real. Okay. Maybe for certain areas, certain countries, certain people, sure. But there's still certain countries, certain areas, and certain people that you show them an iPad and they're going to look at you like you're an alien.
I don't think so much today. All the other countries have already disclosed their UFO information. America's the only one that hasn't. Even Canada's disclosed their UFO information.
Yeah, Paul Hellyer.
Yeah.
The whole Nick Pope and the British MOD. And,
they
there's been a lot of
about Trudeau yet.
You had to go there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
There's a difference between illegal aliens and aliens.
Oh, no, he's an alien. Those usual blob ones? Yeah, that's him.
Oh, wow.
It's true. He's Trump's cousin.
That one I wouldn't be surprised by.
No, but that I think that also in not publicly disclosing the fact that all this is happening and everything else, it keeps us under people's thumbs. Okay? If we were to know that there was this whole other higher power out there, right? I mean, look at what people do now with religion and different preferences. It's just, if you knew that there was something bigger, faster, better, stronger, whatever it is.
The idea of aliens would go against the evangelical agenda.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. The Bible thumpers would lose their friggin' mind.
They would.
Either that or they would adapt to the fact.
So would the Trekkies, though.
Huh?
I've encountered people who do not believe that the space shuttle was real, that we ever went to the moon.
Right.
That, people that are so comfortable in their parochial, the Bible is the literal word of God reality, and these people are never going to be ready for disclosure. So if the aliens are waiting, or the government is waiting for some people with a 2,000 some odd year old mindset to wake up and smell the coffee, don't worry about it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and that's sad. It really is. Yeah. I think religion in general is the bane of reality.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to throw this out here. I'm just going to say it like this, though. Okay, so for every new idea, for every new concept, it has taken hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, to get people acclimated to the fact that that is actually what it is. Okay, so, therapy. Look at therapy. Mm-hmm. Look at medical, whatever. Okay, so it took years for people to believe that schizophrenia was schizophrenia, that dementia existed. Oh no, that person's senile, right? There's something wrong with that person. That person is... Dementia wasn't around until it was around.
Right.
So I think it's the same exact thing with anything to do with the paranormal. Is you have to be able to physically describe and see and have a scientific explanation for what this is and everything else for anybody to truly 100% believe and have it be common everyday stuff.
But we even have people questioning science today. There's that whole religion versus science argument.
Oh, there's always going to be.
You see that in the news,
part of that is because science has become a religion in its own right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's under different auspices, but I mean, I'm on the inside of this argument. The thing is, science, a true scientist is going to be somebody who isn't going to say, well, that doesn't, we've never seen it, that doesn't exist.
Right.
A true scientist will say something to the effect of, it's highly improbable that exists, but, all science is trying to stack up the probabilities on the side of your argument. Because if anybody's taking the statistics class, you've got the mean, which is the very top of the bell curve, and you've got these two tails that go left and right.
I hate it.
They approach zero, but they never hit zero.
That's why I always
they're highly improbable, but they're still possible.
That's why I always liked Stephen Hawking, because he would say, "This is how it is. This is what this is. This is the way it is." And then the next week, nope, that ain't the way it is anymore, because I figured it out, and nope, we're not doing it that way anymore. He liked to hop back and forth because he'd figure out new ways to make those probabilities lean to the other side. He didn't ever just look at his side. He looked at every side.
So, you bring up a good point. Do you think the UFO field became a mockery when you've got Stephen Greer on this side going, all aliens are wonderful and we must worship them? And you've got, people like Hawking going, don't try to contact them, they're evil. And you've got To the Stars Academy going, oh, no, we've got to shoot them all down, all aliens are evil. To me, that makes it all a mockery, because you got one making them a cult, basically, and you got the other ones going, no, shoot them down. And you got the aliens going, really? What the hell? We just want a beer.
Okay, but to be honest, that's with everything. Every single concept of anything. There's people on the far right, people on the far left, and people in between.
But you don't see it so much with Bigfoot yet. Or do you?
You do. It's just in smaller circles because it isn't such a broad concept. I mean, everybody has a Bigfoot story or knows somebody that has a Bigfoot story. But
you haven't seen anybody worshiping him yet.
Oh, I beg to differ. There were many tribes that used to worship Bigfoot.
Some of the... Actually, if you go back into some of the... I think it's the Shoshone. There are Native Americans who have...
worship.
There's these two ideas. They're not so much worship, but that they were part of their mythology. There's a character called Coyote who is sort of a trickster, like Kokopili, that trickster energy. And then you got Hairy Man, who is more of a
guardian.
Guardian, or a more nuts and bolts, down to earth entity. Now, in one of the mythologies, if Coyote had his way, humans would be walking around on all fours like he did.
It was
Hairy Man that said, no, they're like me. They will stand on they will stand and walk on their their legs.
Who's the tribe in Oklahoma? And I could ask her what the name of her. I think it's Shoshone in Oklahoma, is it not?
Oklahoma's got a lot of Cherokee in it.
Cherokee, okay. So I've got a friend that I went to school with. She's part of the Cherokee tribe. And I've got her digging for me on some of the Cherokee, the Oklahoma, it's got to be Cherokee. But the tribe that she's with in Oklahoma, and they've got a lot of stories about hairy man, and they would actually set up their burial sites in relation to certain constellations because they believe they came from the stars. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have a great show soon.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing. So you still got people on the far left, the far right, and in between. No matter what concept you're looking at. Like, think about Fae. Okay? There are people that worship Fae.
In Ireland.
But there are some that are way outside all those realms, too.
Oh, yeah. Then there's the woohoo.
I am not the woohoo.
There's
like
some
the
Raelians
Raelians or
well, I am at heart a carnivore. I know humans are meant to be omnivores. I am not. So everyone else is sitting there, let's worship the aliens. Let's not contact the aliens. Let's shoot them down. My thought is, what the hell do they taste like?
Chicken.
I have the same thought with Bigfoot. I can't help it.
You wonder what a Bigfoot tastes like?
Yep.
I bet he's a little bit chewy.
If you get past the smell, you might taste something.
Oh,
hey, I don't know. There are some
hominid.
really
They say humans taste like pork, so Bigfoot probably tastes like pork.
I wouldn't say that he tastes like pork. I'd say he tastes more like bear, because he would have to be pretty greasy. Like, you'd think in order to build that bulk that he has,
right?
He would have to have a lot of fats and trans.
Sandra, you've been quiet in the chat room. What are your thoughts on all this?
She didn't answer.
But, I think you'd have to get pet. I agree. I could see Bigfoot being greasy. Mm-hmm. I equate Bigfoot more of a cross between a bear and a human.
So I bet he tastes a little bit like dog.
Going back to your original question, Markham, the problem with the way you described disclosure is the fact that no one's going to accept anyone, like a government person, coming up and saying, yes, aliens are real.
No, it's all
there
fake
actually
news.
Has to be a full-out introduction.
It's all fake, and even then, it's fake news.
But it can't come from the government. No, the aliens have to do it themselves. They have to introduce themselves to the world.
Yeah, it has to be first.
So you're saying
contact.
It's going to have to be a childhood's end scenario or an Independence Day scenario where there's a mothership blotting out the sky over.
I wouldn't say that. I would say they start coming slowly into news outlets and saying, "I would like you to do an interview," and as they do the interview, say, we are going to start coming down and introducing ourselves into each country so you can meet us.
Independence
you do
Day.
Not take us as a threat.
Okay, I wouldn't say more. I would say more of first contact. Okay, so, or contact type of a scenario where they come down and it's baby steps. It's baby steps. It's
going to have to be baby steps, mm-hmm. But with Americans being Americans, they would shoot.
Baby step.
Okay, so that's the thing. You would think that these aliens have been watching us for a long time,
mm-hmm.
right? They've been watching us. They know how we are. And they would assess the situation. Because I would hope with them having interstellar technology, they would be able to actually have the brain power to fucking, go out.
Well, if they can harness the power it takes to get here, there's not a weapon on Earth that's going to touch them.
But that's the problem, is I'm hoping they don't have that mentality. Okay, we just have to make it as calm as possible.
Right.
Why does everybody think that aliens have to be a superior race in order to actually harness the technology of interstellar travel?
They do it all the time.
This is the thing that always bothered me, mm-hmm. is everybody says they have to be so technologically advanced in order to harness the power of interstellar travel. Well, How do we know that? How do we know that there is not some element that's on their planet that isn't on our planet that makes it easier? It wouldn't necessarily mean that they are smarter than we are. It wouldn't necessarily mean they're even technologically advanced as far as we are. What if their bodies are more designed to be in space? Or there's some form of element that we don't know about?
Because if they had that power and they were just as dumb as us, we'd already be dead because they would have already taken over.
No, because they'd be just as afraid of us as we are them.
But we're not
well,
actually...
Okay.
90% of us
Look
aren't
at what
afraid of
happened when the Spanish came to the New World. Okay, even without deliberately, I mean, you know, the conquistadors, there was a malevolent, you know, movement among, you know, but also just passive. Our diseases, even you know, if we were just like moving through the area. There's old world diseases from Europe the people here weren't immune to, and it's actually called the Black Swath, where the early Spanish explorers came up through Central America and up along the west coast of the what would become the United States. You know, they were killing people by the thousands without even meaning to.
Yes, but they were also dying by the thousands.
Take the warrior, then, you know, take the conquistador warrior mentality that, hey, this is a new world for us to conquer. You know, I think if you're not, once you reach that technological level where you can move, you know, I think that's why we haven't encountered something like, you know, for the Trekkies, the Klingons. Maybe there's, you know, maybe there is a certain amount of civilization that comes along with a race that gets that far.
And that's possible.
And a very good thought. With that, I'm going to cut you off there. That was a great first hour. Join us again for our second hour as we continue with the February Roundtable, guys. Hey everyone, Cole here with S4. Make sure you join us March 27th through 29th, 2020 in Seaside, Oregon at the Oregon Ghost Conference. This is their 9th year running with a lot of great things happening, including speakers, vendors, events, and workshops that you can all get in on. So make sure you get your tickets soon at www.oregonghostconference.com. We'll see you there.
You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.com.
They say I'm evil, they say I'm dead inside. Check out my ego, 'cause I'm running here tonight. Just burn me like a witch and watch as I catch fire. But I cannot die, I am your poltergeist. I must have 1,000 souls trapped inside. 1,000 souls that are haunting in my eye. I keep trying to kill me, but I cannot. I dare you to try it. You keep trying to kill me, but I cannot die. You try to ignore me, but I haunt you deep inside. You keep trying to kill me, but I cannot die. You try to ignore me, but I haunt you deep inside. They say I'm evil, they say I'm dead inside. Check out my ego, 'cause I want it here tonight. Just burn me like a witch, in my face I catch fire, but I cannot die. I am your poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Oh, poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Oh, you're caving in, lost of sleep. Keeps you obsessing on your pride. But in the end, you let me in. They say I'm evil, they say I'm dead inside. Check out my ego, 'cause I'm rotting here tonight. Just burn me like a witch, it watches I catch fire, but I cannot die. I am your motherfucker. They say I'm evil, they say I'm dead inside. Check out my ego, 'cause I brought it here tonight. Just burn me like a witch, it watches I catch fire, but I cannot die. I am your poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist. Oh, poltergeist, poltergeist. Poltergeist, poltergeist.
Welcome back to S4 with your host, Eric Cooper.
Welcome back to S4. Make sure you go check out our store on the website, www.s-4radio.com, to get your gear, your shower curtains.
I was
What?
hoping you'd say web thingy.
Oh.
Thingy.
And our YouTube channel, where you can get all the older archives from about 4 years ago. Almost 4 years ago. And there's a lot of extra stuff on the YouTube channel, by the way, as some of the shows that I've done with Spaced Out Radio, some of the shows that we've done, actually our very first Area 51 Cafe YouTube video is on there. So make sure you're on the YouTube channel, because there's a lot of extras. Also, March 7th, right here at the studio and headquarters 2, is our first S4 Expeditionary Team meeting. So for the locals that are joining the team, make sure you are here at 2 p.m. for your tacos and your first meeting.
Taco.
We are tacos. We are, wait, I got to clarify. We're still doing tacos, right?
Yes.
All right, be here at 2 o'clock for your tacos and your meeting.
I make tacos.
If you need the address for that, you can contact me or Eric on Facebook.
Absolutely. And there's something else. Make sure you're at the Oregon Ghost Conference.
Yep, March 27th to 29th.
29th. And make sure you stop by the S4 booth, because we will have gear for sale.
And things to give away, and also we will be having a contest.
Taco, Izzy, we just
Not a singing contest. You come and sing at us, we're going to punch you.
perked up Izzy's ears. She's in the chat room going, tacos! She's going to be here just for the tacos.
I think I'm 99.999% sure I'm going to get out there and see you guys at that.
Absolutely!
Excellent.
We got to have our scientist here. Also,
Okay.
if you are, so we are the voice of Forest Moon Paranormal, and the GoFundMe for our team is in the Forest Moon Paranormal group. So, why do we ask for money?
On Facebook.
On Facebook, yes. So why would we need money? Well, we have a lot of scientific stuff And actual scientific stuff, not just, we're not going to just play with an EMF meter and call that science. No, we actually have... Huh?
I am.
Well, yeah, EMF meter is a part of it.
There's one right there if you want it.
No, I've got one. But no, folks, here's what we need. We need game cams. We have 2. And 2 is a great start. But for what we're doing, we need a lot more than just 2 game cameras. Mm-hmm. Because we want to actually... some of our goals this year is to actually identify a frequency that UFOs are giving off. If we can identify a frequency and see if there's different frequencies between different craft, we can sweep the sky with a dish or an array of dishes and identify which craft, figure out which race is flying that craft, and what they're doing here. Along with that, I've always been curious, because I always had the belief that Bigfoot is interdimensional. And if he's interdimensional, there is a possibility he is giving off a frequency as well. Or at least an energy field that we can identify. So I want to, I want to go beyond just, I've seen a Bigfoot, and I've seen a Bigfoot print, and I've heard knocks. I want to go beyond that. That's the goal. It goes beyond just getting some hair and getting a DNA analysis, which is another part of what we're doing. We want to do that too.
Which is only going to come up no matter how good your specimen is.
Right.
If you don't have the whole animal, the most I'm going to be able to do is isolate it out and say, indeterminate.
Right.
Or unidentified, without that whole specimen to catalog, and like all we can do is say, well, it's up until now, it's an unknown hominid.
Now,
that's all the little trace evidence is ever going to give us.
But that brings up a question. If you come up with an unknown, or is there a variable in there that would, if you get another unknown, are you going to be able to say, yes, it's another unknown that's identified as Bigfoot? Or is it just unknown?
It would just be unknown.
It's always going to be unknown until you get that entire or mostly entire specimen.
That's what I was saying.
You wouldn't
how
have
much of a specimen
you wouldn't have to have
need?
the whole... Okay, say...
So I could give you half a Bigfoot?
Well, literally, if you had head, shoulders, torso,
knees and toes
of this, if you had enough that you could trace back and say, okay, this DNA sequence came from these remains,
right?
And they were hitherto unidentified. Now they're not unidentified; they're identified as this specimen. Now, we're not necessarily going to be saying this is Bigfoot or this is Sasquatch, but we will have a baseline to compare with, and we will have a specimen. We'll have a reference specimen to deal with.
Now, what's your opinion? Do you think the DNA of Bigfoot is going to come up as primate or hominid?
Neither.
Well, hominids, we are primates. I mean, that's just, it's, a question of taxonomy. I think they're going to be, I don't know. I don't know if we're dealing with an entirely different species, and no one does. I mean,
right.
Are we dealing with Homo sapiens that have gone down a different developmental path? Could it be a bunch of outliers that were, okay, let's go back into our distant past when just about anything that didn't conform to the normal was discarded or shunned or run out of town. Mm-hmm. So you have a human condition called hirsutism. You're hairy. And I mean, hypertrichosis, type like JoJo the dog-faced boy, hairy. Okay, this person doesn't conform to what the rest of the tribe considers normal.
Right.
They're run out. Okay, now you get, that is enough of it's not an unheard of thing. I mean, there could be enough of these, people that were kicked out of their tribes, and the reason that so much of it is concentrated across the Pacific Northwest is when the population from Europe, Russia, came across the what was at one time the Bering Land Bridge, they settled there.
Right.
So maybe you've got, I'm not saying this is the answer. I'm just saying this is an entirely possible scientific explanation.
Mm-hmm.
You get these people that are ejected from those early immigrants that came across the Bering Land Bridge. You've got people with, say, hypertrichosis. You've got the ones with giganticism. That's not the right word for it. Acromegaly. You get how all your people that don't conform to what the tribes consider normal are pushed out, and they start to form their own tribes. So now you're passing along the hairy gene, you're passing along the acromegaly gene. You're passing along these genes within a restricted gene pool, and the result is you get this splinter branch of humanity that just has an entirely different appearance. They could be as human as you and I, but they took off, a different sociology, a different anthropology.
Right.
It just say it's like a pool of genetic rejects that became viable. They could pass their genes along, and instead of just fading out, they kept going, and maybe this, apply basic Darwinism to it.
Now that hairy
survival of the fittest, and an 8-foot tall, muscular, hairy guy is going to be pretty, capable of surviving.
Right.
So that could be the reason we haven't found Bigfoot DNA. Is Bigfoot is us. It's just a different branch of us. A different race. It's still Homo sapiens, but it's like the difference between an African and Australian, or what I'm trying to say is they're humans. They're modern humans, but they're just modern humans that all the genetics lined up through natural selection to create a certain phenotypic appearance.
Right. What?
Huh? Oh, nothing.
You had a comment.
Yeah.
Chuck.
No, I was just. Well, he answered it in.
Okay.
I was gonna ask if that hairy man disease was a genetically passed down.
Oh, hypertrichosis? Yeah, it can be. It runs in families. I think it's like Rh negative. I believe it has to be.
Oh, you just had to bring up Rh negative again, didn't you?
Well, it's a
Those are the people who are
homozygous.
adopted
It's a
by
homozygous
aliens, right?
recessive.
No.
You have to inherit
And psychic.
both recessive genes. You got to get one recessive gene from the mother, one recessive gene from the father, in order for that trait to be expressed.
Okay, so if it's a small population of people that all have weird genes sleeping together and making babies, then they're all going to end up looking the same eventually, is what you're saying.
There is sort of like a mongrelization type of thing. Well, even if you look at world populations now, there's certain appearances. If you see, God, this has been years ago. It was an anthropology magazine that broke it down. There's Caucasoid, which is, your standard white people, your Negroid, Australoid, which would be like the bush, not the bush, what do they call the Aborigines in Australia?
Yeah, Aborigines.
They have these different, there's, Mongoloid, which is slightly different than, say, there's just different categorizations, or there were back when this book was out. It had there's different appearances. That if you take the skull from this person, no flesh on it, that just the structure.
Now, isn't a
is
mongoloid Down
to let you
syndrome?
No, that's what they called them. Because the epicanthic folds and because they had the round faces. They looked, they would say it was that there was a mongoloid, but actually mongoloid is a ethnic. It's not, it's an ethnic description. It's not an epithet or anything. It's just that they noticed people that had trisomy 21 appeared to have mongoloid features.
And Izzy says
it was really a misuse. It was a misuse of mongoloid.
It can be both.
Mongoloid had a specific reason or a specific definition.
Okay. All right.
But it can be both genetic or developed.
Well, it could be through natural, like you said, it could be through natural selection.
Right.
Okay, you got this sickly 6'4", barely erect train wreck of a man, or you've got this 8-foot athletic fit. Okay, yeah, he's a little hairy. Which are you going to do? I would think that the natural selection process would favor the large, especially in a population of a Sylvan group, a group of people who require strength and a certain amount of bulk to survive. I would think it would skew the breeding toward the larger, fitter specimen.
Right.
So you've got the Bigfoot that's 8 to 9 foot tall. I'm just wool gathering here. I mean, I have no idea. It just this could happen. It's plausible, even if it's not probable. It's plausible. This could have happened.
We've never gotten a good picture of Bigfoot.
The closest we got
What
was
if they're actually like 4 feet tall and they just stand on each other's shoulders?
No, we've got the Patterson Gimlin film, which we are going to be. I believe it's Patterson. We're going to be meeting at the International Bigfoot Conference in September. He's actually going to be there. Yeah.
I didn't see him on that list, but okay.
Yep.
I'll believe you.
So yes, S4 will be at the the International Bigfoot Conference in September in Kennewick. And
even within that specimen, Patty has a different appearance. She's very ape-like, very hirsute, very hairy, very ape-like.
Right.
But then you have eyewitness accounts that it's not. That they're more human-looking than she is.
Mm-hmm.
So even within that population, there seems to be a range of phenotypes. The more human looking to the more apish looking. There's a spectrum of appearances here.
What?
Whose question was this? How'd we start up this conversation? I missed the first part, I think.
Wasn't it yours?
We're talking about Bigfoot. We're talking about the GoFundMe because we need research materials. We need
for Bigfoot
funding.
Not just for Bigfoot, guys. Make sure we reiterate that is not just for Bigfoot research.
No, that's for UFO, alien, and
absolutely. Because
Skagit.
We're not walking the freaking road looking for Bigfoot.
No.
We're walking that road because of the amount of hauntings that have been on that road.
Oh, South Skagit Highway, I believe, honestly, is a crossroad for a whole lot of stuff that goes on.
To clarify, I am not walking South Skagit.
No, you're going to be driving the truck.
Yeah.
Because, we're doing community work as well. We're picking up all the trash along South Skagit Highway along with... and my goal with that, so we're going to be using EMF meters and cameras. And any kind of spike we get, we'll mark it on a map. We'll mark it on the highway. And we'll come back. And we'll do EVP sessions. We'll do some more work in those spike areas. That's kind of the goal with that.
I think I know where we're definitely going to get one.
Cumberland.
Finney.
Where?
Prestonton.
Oh,
That's what you said,
Prestonton, most
Preston.
definitely. There's a lot of Native American lore along South Skagit Highway.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of hidden lore along that highway.
Oh, there's a lot of lore that's not documented. That, yeah. So,
Which road is that over there by you? Is that one I've been on?
yep. That is
Okay.
the road we took to get to Clear Lake. You won't remember it, but
Nah.
you'll definitely be walking.
You're going to have to figure it out to get a taco.
Yep.
Just saying.
We'll have tacos. Oh, but
Authentic
cool.
Mexican taco.
What was your first question for tonight?
Okay. So, we all know that aliens, ghosts, even cryptids are hugely used in entertainment media, such as video games, movies, and TV.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? Has that been helpful towards the study of the paranormal, or has it been a hindrance?
Both.
And in what ways? Because that was too fast of an answer, and we won't
Well,
have more
no,
questions.
you have to pick it apart. And I agree both. I think so. That kind of what came first, the chicken or the egg?
The chicken.
So,
It was the only one that could have. It was the only one that could have a cigarette after.
one, where did the concepts for the TV shows and the video games come from? Did they actually come from reality, or did they come from someone's imagination? And in that regard, the whole paranormal field is fake. Because if it all came from someone's imagination, not reality, then we're all just, making shit up and finding nothing.
Okay.
Hey, Tim.
So there is one thing that I gotta say that I've noticed that I don't have any proof of, but it's still out there. I'm gonna throw it. Every basis of everything in your imagination comes from a basis in reality. There has to be a reason that you created that you thought of the way that this looked, the way that this acted, the way that this, and you take bits and pieces. So, like, look at what was it? Zombies, for instance. Okay, and look at all of the different ways that people portray zombies. Well, the original zombies, the midnight hour, all that stuff was people did raise from the dead, but they weren't really dead to begin
You know
with.
what? You say zombies, I think of Deliverance.
I think of China right now.
Huh?
I think of China right now.
Oh,
You're a terrible person.
that too. So we kind of hit upon this a little bit last week. So, for example, the aliens that are in video games, a lot of the concepts came from the alien races book that the KGB established. And hey, Big Brother, I'm still waiting for my 500-page alien races book that one of you has in the government.
On its way.
But we've talked about this a few times. That there are a few. I'm not going to say 4 because I think there's more than that. But there are some directors and producers, which I'd love to get a panel of producers on the show. And I know some of you are listening because we have producers out of California that have joined FMP, and I've invited on S4 a few times, and they're always busy. But I like to pick their brains a little bit and see where do they come up with some of these paranormal ideas for their shows. Do they come up with all the regurgitated stuff that everybody talks about all the time, or where do they come up with their concepts?
Then you're not going to necessarily want a producer. You're going to want a writer. I mean,
well, some of them are producers.
some of them are
and
producers
writers.
and writers, and
Yeah.
they do the whole shebang.
And not always, Kayla. Sometimes it is just the producers, and they hire a writer.
Right.
They give them the basis of their idea, and they hire a writer to write it.
Yeah.
That's 90%
No,
of how it's
totally.
done in Hollywood now.
Yep. But for real, like, everything has to have some basis in reality, or
I think most of it does.
It doesn't
I really do. I also think some of it can be faked so easily. So I honestly believe the Patterson Gimlin video was real. A lot of people don't believe so. I think it was. They even did a lie detector test in the past. If you look at the Patterson Gimlin film, there's no way in hell they could have faked that kind of a suit back then. Some would disagree and say, well, in the movie producers industry, they could have. No, not going by the muscle ripple, not going by a human in a suit wouldn't have been able to walk like that. I think
I have seen somebody who can emulate that walk, but the fact of the matter is, Patterson and Gimlin didn't have two freaking nickels to rub together.
No.
That was, you talk about a shoestring budget.
Right.
I mean, I think by the time that actually they got to where they shot that Bluff Creek footage, I don't think either one of them had any cash left in their pocket until the
What
next
year was
payday.
that?
67?
And they couldn't. Let's see.
67, I think, wasn't it?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I think what they said is the technology to make a suit like that would have been beyond those two guys' capability to pull off.
I agree.
I disagree.
And playing devil's advocate, so if they had, that would show a potential agenda. I don't think there was an agenda. Don't read into me now. But how much do you think they made off that video when they
Very
released
little.
it? Really?
It did.
it
They
didn't make anything.
they thought
Okay.
they were going to do. It did do a theater run, and it was very disappointing. I mean, they thought they were going to make some bucks off of that, and the only person I think that made any money off of it was the person that distributed it for them.
Right.
It's sort of like an independent musician that signs with some of these indie labels. The label's what makes the money, not the musician.
Because
Patterson and Gimlin did not get rich off of that film.
And I bring that up only because, too, with Fire in the Sky and Travis Walton, the skeptics were screaming up and down in the background going, well, they were loggers, they were about to lose a contract, so they made the whole thing up to make money and get them out of a contract, which also was BS. I fully believe Travis Walton happened. I mean, and some people would say, oh, you're just gullible. No, actually, he stuck to that story since the 1970s.
The only thing he's actually changed about his story is originally he didn't credit the aliens with trying to help him out.
Right.
It wasn't until later he had time to think about it.
That was the only difference.
They were trying to fix me.
They didn't mean to kill him. He was just stupid enough to get up underneath their UFO when they shot the tractor beam down. That wasn't their agenda. And then once they realized they harmed a human, they brought him up to repair him and return him. And that's what they did. And that's the only part of the story he changed.
And I think if you could go back, I'm not sure where, I haven't been able to find it. Calvin Parker showed up on one of the talk shows after his event, and they did a hypnosis session. And my dad was a hardcore skeptic about all this crap. And after he saw that, he came, Dad said, well, I'm not sure if what he says happened, but he sure believes it. And he fell apart during the session.
Right.
So I've always thought Calvin Parker. I've always liked Calvin Parker's story more than Travis Walton's from way back.
Oh yeah,
And I remember
and that was
people forgot about Calvin Parker completely.
Well, the Calvin Parker was the Hickson abduction, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the Pascagoula
Right.
abduction. Hickson never would talk about much. After the initial report, Hickson had nothing to do with it.
No, there's been a lot of famous abduction cases. I mean, not even after the Betty and Barney Hill. There's been, enormous, fully validated abduction cases to where there's enough evidence it would pass in court easily.
Well, that's what Stanton Friedman always said.
Mm-hmm.
He said you've got enough credible eyewitness testimony that if it was a murder case,
yep,
the defendant would have ended up on death row.
Well,
But just because of what we're talking about, they never give the weight of the evidence its full due. I mean, Lonnie Zamora, for God's sakes, what better witness do you have than a state cop who saw what he saw? He had no dog in the fight.
Antonio Villas-Boas, the Argentina case.
Right.
Where he actually touched a UFO and had radiation burns on him. A farmer in her field.
That Patterson Gilman case?
Yep.
I completely disagree with you guys right now.
Okay.
You guys said they wouldn't have had enough money to make that costume.
Okay.
The Chewbacca costume.
Right.
Original cost for the studio, $132. In that movie, the original, A New Hope, he did flex his muscles. His muscles did ripple in that costume.
Yeah, but you're talking when? What year was that?
78. That's only 10 years.
Hey, Joe. Joe's got my pointy sticks.
Joe.
Alon's brother. Yeah, I kind of yelled at him the other day. He said he kept forgetting we're on Sundays, not Saturdays now.
The hell, Joe.
Hey, so what was it?
You got to write
Patterson
it on the
and Gimbel
end
did
of
for
your
a
poke
living?
stick.
Huh?
What was it that Patterson and Gimbel did for a living?
I don't remember. Do you remember, Markham?
I'm thinking one was just like a farmhand cowboy type, and one was whatever he could do. Handyman, jack of all trades type of thing.
Okay, so
Amateur.
the two worlds of that
'Cause
combined.
he had heard. Well,
Would-
they had all. I think it was Patterson. I can't keep them both straight without, but they had heard about the Bigfoot castings in that Bluff Creek area.
Right.
That wasn't just a random encounter. They were hearing.
No, they were looking for him.
They were looking in that area to see what was making the footprints.
Right.
They were just lucky enough to catch it.
Right, but all I'm saying is that if you have a person that's skilled in many different trades, so mechanical, construction-wise, that kind of thing, and then you have a farmhand who would know how to skin something really well, and you put those two worlds together, they could create a suit that looked pretty darn real.
They could, and when we're talking about this, I sure remember when we were at the fair and that woman came to our booth and was insulted that we were selling Bigfoot buttons because she was Patterson's granddaughter. I can't remember which one. I'm like, really?
No, Gimli's.
Yeah,
Or
but
is it
the
Gimli?
thing that I'm
Gimli.
looking at is,
Yeah.
okay, so if you have people that are both struggling to make a living,
Mm-hmm.
okay, they hear about, hey, there was a Bigfoot sighting up here. They have the skill and ability in order to pull off a hoax that they're hoping could make money because they tried to profit from it. They didn't profit from it because of the fact that distribution in the show didn't work out and everything else, but they still tried to profit from it. So when you're looking at all of that added up, that's a hoax for profit.
It could be, but
I remember she was Gimli's daughter or granddaughter because we made the joke that her grandfather's name wasn't even first. What the hell does she know?
You know, and Joe's in there. Did you think she had a copyright on Bigfoot? Nah, I don't think so. You know, we just kind of laughed and said, whatever.
If she was brave enough to brand the copyright C into his ass, you know what? She can have that copyright.
Because you know we had our Bigfoot cut out. He's a pretty big Bigfoot too. He's what, about 7 foot tall?
Yeah, just a baby.
So the average Bigfoot's 9 foot tall.
If that's the baby, though, I feel bad for the mother.
Right?
Period.
Oh.
Ow.
But, you know, and I'll still stand by the belief. I still think it was a valid video.
And I wasn't saying it wasn't. I'm just saying it is a possibility that that costume can be made. It could have at that point. I really do believe that.
There's always a possibility. Nobody's got any proof. But, you know, I look at that, and it's interesting because in the Patterson-Gimlin film, the Bigfoot turns around.
S4 is partnering with Taco Bell, according to Joe.
Oh, if you can get S4 partnered with Taco Bell, I'll give you a 50-50 cut.
We'll even hold the bell for them, tell them.
Right?
The Chupacabra. Yeah.
Right?
Get a Chupacabra to Caro Taco Bell. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd eat that. I don't know if I'd trust it.
And hey, folks, I just got to throw this plug out. If you've got a business and you want S4 as a sponsor, we're looking for sponsors all the time. I still want Bigfoot Java.
Yep. But check out the website, www.s4.com.
Radio.com.
S4 Radio, that's right, .com. Also, you can contact me at 360-999-2830.
Outstanding. And we'll cut your commercial for you and everything. Where are we going with this?
The Kalupa. Jeez.
Anyway, if you're looking,
Joe's hungry.
You know, and there's always the argument too. If you look at the bottom left of the video, you will see what it looks like. And I think it could be pareidolia. It could be an actual baby Bigfoot hiding behind the rock. And that would explain why the Bigfoot looks back, because she's trying to lead them away from her baby.
Okay, now, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Of course.
Okay, but if Bigfoot were interdimensional creatures, right, instead of trying to lead them away from her baby, wouldn't they have just both disappeared?
Not necessarily. Not if the baby doesn't know how to jump yet.
Oh, okay.
Just saying. I don't know. But just saying.
One of the things I've never liked that theory, though, is if you see other primates in the wild, I'm thinking mountain gorillas, chimpanzees, they don't do that, lead you away from their baby thing.
They'll attack you.
They will beat you to death.
Right.
They will confront you, and they will beat you to death over their baby.
That's normal.
So I don't know if she was trying to distract them. I've never really... It just goes against primate behavior.
It does, but who's to say they're primate?
I don't think they're primates. I really don't. I think they'd have more in common with a kangaroo.
Sorry, guys, just going to interrupt here for a second. For any of our local listeners, because I know we've gotten quite a few in the last few weeks, new ones. Anyone on the South Skagit River, watch your dogs. Cougar was just spotted right on the South Skagit Road at mile marker 16. So watch your dogs, watch your cats. Keep them inside tonight.
Yep. Wonderful.
If you don't like your kids, put them out.
Yeah, make another one look just like them.
Yep.
So, who's to say they are primate? Because we don't know. It would show that they are not primate. Because, you look at, and we said this on the show last week too, things just pop up. But last year, the 3-year-old that disappeared and said Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah.
Took care of them and brought them back to. And you hear that a lot.
2 years
in
now.
New Bern?
2 years ago now.
What, 2 years ago now?
Yeah, it was 2018.
What if he's just a big lemur?
You know, that was
I'm gonna
that
throw
happened.
something
I
in.
used to live
That's
in
a
that
really
area
big
where
lemur.
that kid disappeared.
That was North
And a lot
Carolina,
of
wasn't
people
it?
say, well, yeah, it was just down the road from where I used to live.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole area, a lot of it is Weyerhaeuser timber property. There's a lot of swampland out there. You know, it's plausible that you could have a population out there, and it's spread out. I mean, the population density is like compressed.
Right.
New Bern runs into Newport and runs in, there's a strip, but you get away from that concentration. Like if you're going from, I used to work in Kinston, North Carolina, which is just down down 70 from New Bern. There's a lot of wilderness out there. There's a lot of swampland. There's a lot of property out there that people just can't readily move into. I mean, the deer population, they say one of the things that Bigfoot eats is deer. Well, I used to be,
And
I
chicken.
just don't know how I never hit a deer coming down there, because the ditch next to 70 would be full. And when I say I would run past dozens of deer in one little group, and then go down the road, run into more dozen. I mean, there were herds of deer out in that area. So there's places to live, water to drink, and food to eat.
But I also like Joe's comment, because Joe says the reason Patterson and Gimlin were able to approach the Bigfoot without it knowing was because they were on horses. The horses masked the human scent.
That's true, those stinky buggers.
Could be, yeah.
I could agree with them, though.
Yeah, no, like... Especially if the horses were having a rough day with
other
stomach
than the
problems.
Zapruder film of JFK's head exploding, no other strip of film has had the same amount of scrutiny as the Patterson-Gimlin tape.
Well, absolutely.
I mean, it's only been within the last 10 years that image stabilization came along and they were able to clean it up a little bit.
I would say the spacewalk.
Huh?
Yeah,
The
the
spacewalk
spacewalk
did.
got
the
just as
spacewalk.
much controversy on that one.
But I would agree. I don't think there's ever been, honestly, any other photos or videos of Bigfoot that have been that obvious.
Let's say any cryptid, honestly,
Right.
that have been that controversial, that have made that many people think and believe in the actual existence of. I don't think that there's any out there that would rival that as far as...
Now, the reason I was bringing up the interesting aspect of the Patterson-Gimlin is when she turns around and looks back at the camera, is because the recent Bigfoot video that the Washington State DOT took,
They do the same. It
did the same damn thing.
Yeah, it would walk a little ways and then turn and look
And
back
turn
at the
around and
camera.
look back.
Yeah.
And, the interesting point, if it was a human, the whole torso is going to turn, or the head alone will turn. Bigfoot, the whole torso has to turn to look back. And it does that. It did it in the Patterson-Gimlin film. But if you turn around, you just go like this. And for those listeners, you're just turning your head. But their structure is to where their whole torso has to turn with their head.
They all have model
Which,
training.
let me play devil's advocate here.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that could be is think of like a Batman costume, or the
You're
fact that
talking
they have
if
turned their
it's a-
whole top
If it's a
is because
costume,
they're
they got to turn
wearing
the whole costume.
a costume.
Right.
Yeah, that could be why.
Yeah, but the other part of it could be the fact that get anyone who has a thick neck of muscles
Right.
to actually do the same turn, they have to turn their torso at a certain point. Watch any Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Van Damme movie.
Right.
They all turn the same way.
So you're saying Schwarzenegger was in a Bigfoot costume?
No. Come on, he could do it without
I
saying.
did
"Get
see
in
a
the chopper."
documentary once where they analyzed the walk, and they tried several different human models and couldn't get
To duplicate?
it to duplicate mathematically, or there was some kind of they used some kind of method where they isolated the leg as the leg and hip movement,
Mm-hmm.
and they tried like a big guy. They tried different things to try and make the human gait and that big Patty's gait match up, and they couldn't do it. But by the same token, there was this old guy who claimed that he was the one in the suit. He could do that walk. He had that gait. So
How does everyone know it's a female?
Because she had
because
breasts.
the mammary gland,
She had
when
breasts.
she turns her body,
And
she
that
had,
was another argument with faking a suit. Because back then, how many of them had breasts? And who's going to go into...
The male penguin has breasts.
No, but who's going to think about putting breasts on a Bigfoot suit? Honestly. 'Cause
90%.
back then...
that was
No, but back then... they
that
didn't
is always
think-
a good point. I mean, that's a detail that if
You didn't think about female Bigfoots back in the 60s.
Too much hair.
You wouldn't. Back then, Bigfoot was fairly new back then. And so they wouldn't think about throwing a big female Bigfoot suit into it. So, really?
Hey, okay, now this is going off on a totally awkward, weird tangent.
Of course, you
thing
wouldn't
here.
be Kayla if we didn't.
I know. But have they ever tried putting a monkey in the suit? Like honestly, okay. Like putting an ape in a Bigfoot suit and having him walk.
Okay, a 9 foot.
no, because
ape?
the gait.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
No, you can't get that gait with any known primate or monkey or ape, because their hip structure and their legs they don't as a rule walk bipedally.
Okay.
It's not their
Okay.
natural gait.
Well, not to
So
mention,
that,
can you
you know,
imagine
that-
trying to? Can
they
you
could-
imagine trying to put a gorilla in a suit? They'd freak out. I would think.
Well,
not
it
if
just-
they were
unless they were
trained.
It just
trained.
wouldn't
Not if
work
they were
because
trained to
the
do
way
so.
they walk, they don't walk like that.
Right.
If you watch a mountain gorilla walk, if they are walking upright, their whole body is swinging. It's not
Keith
like
says
a
good luck
human
with
where
that.
it's like leg out. Their whole hip and leg and body structure throws that leg out.
Right.
Their gait is completely different than ours, and completely different than what you see in the Patterson-Gimlin tape.
Okay. So we're coming down to the last 10 minutes of the second hour. Kayla, what's your first question?
Okay, totally different, but so I want to know what you guys' opinion on time travel is. Whether you think it's a possibility, whether you think it's actually happened, and what the implications of true time travel would be.
If Bill and Ted could do it, I can do it.
No, I want a DeLorean.
Your wish is about to come true.
Really?
Yeah, they just announced they're making new DeLoreans.
Oh no, I want one with the 88 mile an hour.
It's almost exactly the same as the original, except for
real?
it's got newer technology in it. But yes, they are
They
remaking
put better
them.
motors in them.
Yeah. From what I heard, it's close to Ferrari 500. So,
I can't afford
crap.
that.
yeah, no kidding, eh?
Oh.
Well, as far as
travel.
time travel goes, unless
I like Joe's comment. Time travel would explain the Mandela effect.
You know what? That's what I was going to say.
it would,
Because honestly, like if you go back in time, okay, so even if you're only there for a couple of seconds or whatever, let's say you could do something as innocent as
Forget your Coke can.
well, not even something that big. You could kill a spider by stepping on it that was the spider that bit some guy that ended up killing him. And you just changed the entire course of history because this whole line of people shouldn't have existed, but now do.
Because a Black Widow was stepped on.
Because a Black Widow was stepped on. Exactly.
Yeah. So Keith is saying
Well,
time travel is possible forward, but not backwards. So with the Astral team, part of their training with Richard was actually going back in time and observing. That's all they did was observe. They couldn't change nothing. They couldn't alter nothing. They couldn't do anything. They could observe a point in history. And then I think about that guy on YouTube.
Oh, the guy from 3000 and something that brought a...
Yeah, that was saying we're all heading for an apocalyptic event.
Everybody says we're heading for an apocalyptic event. That's got to be the end at some point.
Yeah, they've been saying it for 2,000 years. Yeah.
That's what I said.
I think if you could go back in time, we as a people would never know our history.
They don't now.
I don't know. I think if you go... No, I mean, 1776. There's things in our history that have been the same in our entire lives. You have the Declaration of Independence. You have the Revolutionary War. You have the Civil War. You have World War II. I mean, these dates have stayed the same, and these events have been the same. Nobody went back in time and killed Hitler.
No.
Hitler is still in our history and our timeline. I think if time travel in the past where you could interact with it, I don't think that's possible, or we wouldn't have a history.
So I've been thinking about, I don't know why, but every once in a while I get fixated on something and I try to figure out how everything works and how that would work. And so my mind went into time travel here a little bit ago. And I started kind of watching different videos and trying to figure out what it would actually take to do this.
The what if?
Yes. And I came to the conclusion that if you're going to time travel, that it would just be your consciousness that could do it. Mm-hmm. That it wouldn't actually be your physical body that would be able to actually go through time. But because of the way that our synapses work and because of the way that energy transfers...
Right.
The only thing that you would be able to transfer forward or backwards in time would be your consciousness. So if we could do that, you would be basically overwriting somebody's consciousness in a distant past or distant future.
And Keith's saying, if you travel to the past, that past becomes your present. Now, if you're traveling through your mind, which would be astral, and your remote viewing, in essence, not actually astral traveling, your remote viewing would be your present until you come back to your current present.
Right, but I think it would be more than that, because I think you'd be able to actually take possession. Okay, that's kind of a weird way to put it. But you'd actually be able to, not override, but take control of someone. And I think it would all have to be within your own genetic history.
But if you did that, think about it.
Robert Monroe wrote about that. Living life fully conscious, but knowing full well that his Robert Monroe, the ego that was Robert Monroe, was more or less hitching a ride in this body, this alternate reality or this alternate life.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some precedent for that.
I agree with Keith that if you're just remote viewing, for example, you can't possess anything. You're only there to view. You don't have the capacity to possess.
Right. It wouldn't necessarily be.
If you could, just think of the ramifications of someone possessing Hitler and making him commit suicide.
Yeah, but who's to say that they didn't? Because isn't that how he ended?
That depends on which conspiracy theory you follow, because supposedly he didn't die when he was supposed to die, but the U.S. actually kidnapped him and let him live out his life in Argentina. Mm-hmm. So it depends on which which timeline you follow or which theory you follow on that. And with
there's
that,
also the thing that that the actual Adolf Hitler baby died, and that the baby that became the Adolf Hitler was a changeling. That had the real Hitler baby not died, history might have been completely different, because it wouldn't have been that person.
Well, we're going to continue with that thought after this break.
Anyway, yeah.
Hey everyone, Cole here with S4. Make sure you join us March 27th through 29th, 2020 in Seaside, Oregon at the Oregon Ghost Conference. This is their 9th year running, with a lot of great things happening, including speakers, vendors, events, and workshops that you can all get in on. So make sure you get your tickets soon at www.oregonghostconference.com. We'll see you there.
You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.com.
Your
Welcome back to S4 with your host, Eric Cooper.
Welcome back to S4. Make sure you go to the store and check out all the gear we've got. We got S4 mugs, shower curtains. I keep saying shower curtains because I know we got people that want shower curtains, myself included.
Yeah, the two hosts.
Oh, yeah.
One, his wife is really mean, and she says, no, we can't have that.
You can get your gear at www.s-4radio.com. Look for the shopping link, and it'll take you straight to the store where you're going to get all kinds of cool stuff. And make sure you check us out at the Oregon Ghost Conference, and we'll have more stuff and freebies.
Stuff
you can
and
get
things.
a free, huh?
Don't forget about the things. We'll have stuff and things.
Well, stuff and things, yeah. Freebies, free stuff giveaways. And don't forget March 7th for those that want to be on the S4 Expeditionary team. We're going to prove stuff this year. That's the goal. And make sure you check out the GoFundMe because we definitely need help.
Buying stuff and
things. And that is in the FMP, Forest Moon Paranormal Group. And if you're not in the Forest Moon Paranormal Group, that is where we post all of our updates because S4 is the voice of Forest Moon Paranormal.
And on the S4 page as well.
On the S4 page as well. So, you wanted to add something about time travel.
Yes. So.
You're just going to rip me apart now, aren't you?
Well, no, it's just that. So, someone. One of you mentioned that if it was possible to go back in time, Hitler would have just died.
He did.
But here's the thing. Okay? How do we know he didn't die that way? There is a theory that when you time travel, you are in a bubble. That bubble is a bubble of remembrance. You will remember what happened. Everyone around you will not. Time may have changed through many, many times, and we wouldn't know it. Our minds would automatically adjust for what has happened.
Mandela
Now,
effect.
exactly. When small glitches happen where things do not quite go as planned, like let's say, for a possibility, someone got hit in the head at the exact moment something changed. And therefore, their mind didn't quite change as far.
Huh.
Do you see what I mean?
So if somebody wakes up from a...
Like, we couldn't possibly know if someone changed something back in time. Because our minds can't handle that many realities.
Well, I'm going to throw a whole different... So... Saddam Hussein, for example, had 10 identical replicas. So when he was in a convoy, he would have 10 lookalikes. You didn't know if you were killing the actual Saddam Hussein.
So he could still be out there.
Oh no, the actual Saddam is dead. All of his replicas were taken out.
Except for the one that works at 7-Eleven.
The real Saddam was the one that was, hiding in a bunker, and they, pulled him out, and everyone saw him. Saw them pull him out.
I'm sorry, but everyone who's died, and friggin' that's questionable, works at 7-Eleven now. Elvis, Hitler, Bin Laden, they all work at 7-Elevens across our country.
Oh, and that brings up the point about the School of America. So many people think that's a conspiracy. It's really not. I've seen the School of America. And Markham, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because you were right next to the School of America when you were in LaGrange. And LaGrange, Georgia. Now that's another story. Because back in 99, 2000, I was in Atlanta, and LaGrange was, oh my God, there was a UFO seen there like every night. And that's back when I was with MUFON. But on Fort Benning in Georgia is the School of America. And there's riots and protests outside the gate all the time. There used to be. I don't know if there still is. But the School of America is where the U.S. government actually trained Bin Laden and Saddam Hussein and Castro. And all your known terrorists today were trained by the U.S. government at the School of America on Fort Benning. And you've got the, no, that never really happened. Yeah, it actually did. You know, when I was in maintenance school in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, we even had foreign military students that were taking our own classes. So I know it happens. If it happens in the U.S. military schools, you know damn well it happens at places like the School of America. So is it a conspiracy? No, it's not. I can just prove that conspiracy firsthand. But it sounds like you had fun at LaGrange. Marco?
Well, my problem was, from the first moment I was there, that town felt to me like there was a facade, that there was something hidden there. I felt like I'd walked into H.P. Lovecraft's, Shadow over Innsmouth story. I just always, it always felt like this appearance is hiding something.
Right.
Always felt like there was something just under the surface there.
So you're talking like Stepford Wife's action.
No, not even that. Just more of a, this is a show being put on for normalcy, the sake of normalcy, but there's something else going on there. It just always had a weird vibe to me.
That's where I met the reptilians the first time, was in Atlanta. So there's a lot of weird stuff happened when I was in Atlanta. A lot of weird stuff. That's where I met my first, aside from the reptilian incident, that's where I met a guy that said he was an alien in a Denny's. And where America eats.
Apparently where aliens eat as well.
Oh, yeah, where aliens eat as well. And he was paranoid, so obviously rightfully so. He was living in a hotel, and he knew stuff that a person. I don't know. I was kind of impressed by the guy. At the same time frame, there was an organization that was actually building a life-sized flying saucer. Atlanta, Georgia was just a plethora of weirdness, to say the least. At that time I was followed around, and my phones were definitely tapped. Of course, working in a highly secure, classified location, they didn't appreciate me being a UFO investigator either. So I can't fully blame them for that. I was in Patton's Army, 3rd Army at the time. Patton's another unique individual that I wish was still alive today. For damn sure you wouldn't see half the crap going on in this country today if Patton was around.
Well, that's why he was. They attempted to kill him over there. And whether you go with the wreck was staged, or that he was hit in the head with a bolt gun and was too much of a badass to succumb. I mean, he survived the assassination attempt.
Right.
Patton had dirt on Bradley. He had dirt on Eisenhower. Eisenhower had, I think Eisenhower had, at that time, even had political aspirations. Had Patton made it back to the country, to the U.S., published his memoirs, and, he was not one to keep his mouth shut.
Right.
He was probably told, you will keep your mouth shut. He probably told him to go pound sand, putting it politely.
Oh, knowing him, he did.
So he was actually starting to recover in the hospital they had him in, and that's why they had to kill him in the hospital to get him, get him out of the picture.
Right. So I'm going to ask my second question tonight. What's your thoughts on, and it, of course this goes back to all this crap I'm dealing with, trying to get the resource listings for the team. But what's your thoughts on demonologists in this field? So most need to be approved by the Vatican, I would think, to be valid. Yet you see all these claims and titles, and I'm a demonologist, and
they don't need to be approved by the
You are
Vatican.
taking the word demonologist and applying it only to the Catholic religion.
yeah.
They do not have to be approved by the Vatican. You can be a demonologist without being approved by the Vatican because you can get that degree from almost any well-endowed university.
Okay, let me finish my question, though.
Okay, fine.
You see some claim that, but here's the point, you see some claim that title, and the rarity we know demons are, is it really necessary to claim to be a demonologist?
Well, okay, so the thing is, a demonologist, in its own sense, shouldn't... It's like being an archaeologist or a mythologist.
You're absolutely right, Keith. Most have no clue what a demon is, and if they ever actually encountered a demon...
That's my point. 90% of them don't actually deal with demons in the word sense of actually having a dealing with a demon. Most of them study the history of demons.
Okay, so your demonology degree that you're getting from any major school
Has some names.
would be like getting us. Oh my gosh, I just lost it. I was going to say psychology, but it's a philosophy.
More like getting
a
a
philosophy degree.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the
Exactly,
study
something like a
of
philosophy
something in
or
the
applied
past
philosophy.
that yes.
So, again, we go to titles and labels. So, I've got a demon because, according to Ghost Adventures, they say I've got one. But, I won't say the other. Oh God, I hate that twit. Not Zach Baggins, the other one. I've made so many people pissed off when I say, demons are demons. They're their own race. They don't all hate humans. They really don't give two shits about humans. They don't care. And when FMP ran our emergency response team, we handled 5 to 10 cases a day. So you do the math. 365 days a year, we're handling 5 to 10 cases a day, and maybe had 2 actual demons. 2. That's how rare they are.
Don't tell people to do the math. That's just me.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, don't hurt your head. Don't hurt your head. So, no, there are people that actually work with demons. Because demons, in and of themselves, it's religion that made them evil. Religion that made them bad. Demons are their own race.
So we just had this argument with someone on the FMP group. The problem is if you believe you have a demon in your household, do not call your local priest. Not off the first. And if you do, and they say, oh yeah, I'll be right over. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I am a Catholic, and that priest is full of crap. I'm sorry, but they are literally not allowed to enter that household under that pretense.
Unless they're blessing the home.
No.
No?
They are literally not supposed
They
to
have
walk
to get
into a
approval.
home and do that. They have to get approval for it.
Even to go in...
From the bishop.
From everything that they do.
Okay.
They have
Which
to get
kind of
approval.
makes sense.
Because somebody else made the comment, because, I remember that we just had that. And that woman blocked me.
No way. Did you delete her from the
Yes,
group?
the minute you block an admin or a moderator in FMP, you're automatically banned. Bye-bye. Don't let the door hit you in the butt.
But truth be told, the Vatican is very careful about how they handle these type of things.
Mm-hmm.
And not for the reason that everyone honestly thinks. It is for the sick reason that everyone knows.
Right.
You can't...
No, don't.
No.
Okay.
Because of what has happened in the past, they can't allow priests to go into people's homes.
To protect the Vatican, really.
To protect their own rights.
Yeah.
And it's just not acceptable. Hell, the first and only Pope to actually admit that this happened, we have now. Yes, he's the weirdest Pope. He has his own rap album.
Uh-huh.
But he's also the only one who's actually admitting to a lot of things that we've always suspected.
Is that why Nostradamus predicts he's the last Pope in the Vatican?
Did he?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
The Pope predicted, or not the Pope, Nostradamus predicted in 2020 that something's going to happen, the Pope's going to leave, and there's not going to be any Pope after this Pope.
Well, according to Catholic tradition, the only time that's supposed to happen is during the Second Coming.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that makes sense with Notre Dame's second prediction there. So, if we're going off that, but I mean,
I think what ran me out of that whole
misconstrue
religious thing is how in the hell can you look at the complications of the universe, how the laws of physics work, and boil it down to a Jewish zombie died for our sins. I mean, the whole mythology of that's behind Christianity existed before Christianity in different forms, like Mithraism. You know, it's just, to me, I just can't look at the overall majesty of the universe and think that any of these earthly religions have got it right. I mean, I do believe in a supreme being, creator type, but I just think religions are, I think they limit us more than they help us along, because it's all, every religion boils down to who you can sleep with, what you can do with your money, and what you can eat, and when. Mm-hmm. It's all about control, and it just, I just don't, I just can't buy it. I just can't believe that this is all, you know, this whole clockwork universe we have boils down to this mythology here on Earth.
Okay.
I can't do it.
Time for Kayla to go on another Kayla rant. Okay. That is just bizarre and off the hook. So here we go. Okay. So who's to say that... So every civilization that has ever been born and has ever grown into a big empire, I guess you would call it, has crumbled eventually. Mm-hmm. Okay? You're looking back on history, you're looking at the Sumerians, you're looking at they have all got to a peak and then disappeared. Their whole civilization, done, finished, whatever, move on. There's still people that claim as Sumerian because they're from the region and everything else, but the actual culture of it is gone. Okay, so who's to say that at some point we didn't, I don't know, evolve past the point that we are now? Okay, if you think about the technologies and the stuff that we have now, give it another 100 years and we're not going to have any written word anymore. It's not going to happen. Everything is going to be so digitalized that there isn't going to be Post-its. There isn't going to be written stuff. Everybody's going to have a tablet that they type out stuff on and have shorthand and LOLs and everything.
Stop it.
What?
You are giving all the introverts a freaking heart attack right now.
Okay.
Well, look, before even writing, there was everything was verbal lore.
Yes. So, I guess what I'm saying is that we've already come to this point before. In history, we've already come to this point. We've passed this point, and we have crumbled. And then started back over from ground zero and worked our way back up.
I missed it.
What?
I don't remember that.
Of course you don't. But this is the way that our planet works. This is the way that civilizations on our planet work. We get to this point, everything's cool, everything's peachy, we do something stupid, we start over at ground zero. Okay? And we find technologies all the time that we're wondering, well, what would they have used this for? How did they do this? Well, we haven't gotten to that point yet of being able to tell you how to do it.
That's why we need to find gold.
Exactly.
In them
We're
hills?
finding gold.
In them hills?
Gold in our hills. Yeah.
You don't want gold. Gold is
We gotta find gold because when we go back to the Dark Ages again, we're gonna need gold for bartering.
No. Mercury. Mercury's where it's at.
I ain't touching no mercury.
Exactly.
I think part of the problem is I tend to agree that there have been advanced civilizations on this planet before. We get to this technological level and we either destroy ourselves, our natural hubris takes over, or perhaps we get to this level and we introduce ourselves to a more warlike universe than we think exists, and we get wiped out. Or, I think it is naive for us to say that we started as single-celled organisms a few billion years ago, and it took us all that time to get here. When you see that once you see how technology leapfrogs and become, we haven't been here this long to have the technology that we have.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, you look at if you've got a 98-year-old grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
This woman literally went from horse and buggies to supersonic SR-71 Blackbird, space shuttles, and space stations in one lifetime.
Okay.
And the internet.
But this is... Okay.
I don't know how many 90-year-old women that have been in the space shuttle, but kudos to those people.
But I guess this is the concept that I was trying to...
Now, how in the hell did you take a timeline and get from that inference that I had a 98-year-old woman on a space shuttle? I'm saying that in their lifetime, they saw our technology evolve from horse and buggy to space shuttles. Not that they got on a space shuttle.
Because over half of them
the
don't
oldest
believe the
person
space
that got on a
shuttles
space
exist.
shuttle was John Glenn. But
Okay.
I mean, they saw our technology, our level of technology go from literal, damn near non-mechanical to superconducting, the tube to the semiconductor to computers. I mean,
but do you think that's too fast?
Calculator has more power than the Apollo.
Do you think that's too
just
fast?
Just in that length of time.
Well, that's why
I don't think it's...
I laugh at my math teacher from back in high school because I remember my math teacher saying, going, why do I have to learn this? I'm never going to need to know this. And she's like, it's not like everybody's going to have a calculator in their pocket at all times. Hey, guess what? We all have a calculator in our pocket at all times.
Better than an abacus.
We may all have one, but 90% of the people out there still say, hey, how do you do this?
Yeah, that's true.
It's like we all have Google in our pockets, but everyone still goes on Facebook groups and say, hey, anyone know how to do this?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Offer all those order of operations questions. Yeah, those are so basic.
So this is where this is going to get really bizarre, though. Okay, so let's say 2,000 years from now, our civilization has, randomly crumbled and we started over from the Dark Ages type thing, okay? And somebody, somewhere, finds the one living copy of the Harry Potter books, the very first one, okay?
That thinks is real.
Historical documents.
What are they going to believe? They're going to make that into what we would now consider basically our Bibles. They're going to say, oh, there's a chosen one. They used to have this ability.
They had wands.
This was the bad guy. So this is angels and demons, and just like in modern day Bible verses and everything else. So who's to say that this wasn't just somebody's novel that they wrote that later on in life people picked up, and now it's religious document.
And they're all going to name their kids Harry Potter.
So you're saying that the story of Jesus could be like a novel from back then? Kayla, there's not even any sex in that book. No one would have read it.
Oh, and Joe says that we worship the four gods on Mount Rushmore. Uh-huh.
No, just the ones
let's
that are
also
on
consider the Gospels. There were a lot of Gospels. It was the Nicene Council that decided which ones were going to go in there. And any Gospel that didn't point to an overarching patriarchal church were called heretical and put into the Apocrypha.
Yep.
Because they're, and a lot, and if you even look further into that, you look at when the Gospels were written, and most of them weren't even codified and written until 100 years after the event.
Fan
and
fiction.
Even there, kinda.
Fan fiction. They took an original storyline and they created something else out of it. They created a jump in the line. They took a character from the line and created a story around them.
And that's why I like the movie Stigmata. Because Stigmata bases it off the hidden books of Thomas. Or even in the hidden books of Thomas, God says, I'm not in a building. I'm in all the rocks and all the trees and all around
Split
you.
a piece of wood and I am there.
Yeah.
Lift a rock and I am there. In other words, Thomas does not point to an overarching patriarchal.
No, you don't have to go to a damn building to meet your God.
Exactly.
Go in the woods.
So where did the Gospel of Thomas get put? In the heretical file.
Exactly.
Because it didn't back up. And then you get what was already an edited, very selective collection of writings.
Yep.
And you get the King James version, which he even has redone to point to the fact that it's good to be the king, and
well, and then think about also the translation differences. Okay, so if you're translating it, from English into German, from German into Spanish, from Spanish into, you are going to lose half of it each time you translate.
I know what you meant when you say you don't need to go to a damn building.
Uh-huh.
But all I could think of was, okay, so the Amish go to a barn raising, so we go to a damn building?
Yeah.
There's that upriver culture.
You don't have to go to a building every Sunday to meet your God. Your God is all around you.
But they give you food and drink.
Yeah.
I get a snack every Sunday.
And socialism, which is ultimately what church has become, a social club.
Well, the dirty little secret with that is that some of the apostles thought that that whole movement was Jewish only, and they had a falling out with some of the other apostles and said, no, this is for all. This is Gentile and Jew alike, and you had a schism there. When you look at the evolution of Christianity as it is today, if you dig into the prime source material, and if you look at what was going on, it's more of a lot of it boils down to Mithraism. The early Christians, they went underground because they were a fringe group. Imagine the Mormons had to go underground to do their religion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what was under the old city of Rome? The old Mithraist cathedrals, the old Mithra, there was a precursor religion. So much of what is in Christianity, in our holidays, in our rites, comes from pagan sources.
Exactly.
The Christmas tree comes from the worship of Adonis.
Yes,
the virgin birth, Mithraism.
Different tribal sources. Mm-hmm. And the tribal sources come from where?
Well, it all comes down to nature.
The creator.
Exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. It all boils back to some supreme creator. No matter what way you put it.
Because they were a lot more sun worshippers, moon worshippers. All of their holy days were evolved around the harvest and the seasons.
Right.
So it all comes back to nature worship, anywhere you look at it.
It does come back to nature worship, but no matter what religion somebody is, it all boils down to some form of supreme being. Because even if it's nature, even if it's this or that, somebody had to create this in the first place.
Well, look at First Nations. They all have their own creation story. Each tribe has their own creation story.
Exactly. But again, it's all creation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So...
Some come from above.
Exactly.
I think the Hopi, some of the Southwestern, they came from below. They came from underground. Some they came from the star beings, the sky beings. You know, it's like you gotta almost wonder if Earth isn't one of these places where different advanced races come and set their experiments loose, sort of as a zoo, a nature reserve. Let's see what happens when see how these happen. You know, what goes on with these. You know?
Yeah.
Now, not necessarily advanced races either. Okay, so back to the concept of the fact that we've recreated and started over how many times? What if the tribal people were seeing the lights in the sky of a civilization that was beyond at that point, but it's still a human civilization that went beyond? Their gods are their own people. Mm-hmm. Just at a different...
Look at Stargate. The TV show and the movie Stargate.
Like SG-1?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Atlantis.
Okay.
And I mean, there's supposed to be Stargates here on Earth. There was one, you know, this is a fringe theory, but there was a Stargate in Iraq. And some conspiracy theorists say, oh, we didn't go to Iraq for oil. We went to get the Stargate.
What the hell do you think Stonehenge is?
Huh?
What the hell do you think Stonehenge is?
Stonehenge isn't Stargate.
That's not a Stargate.
You don't know that.
It's not a Stargate.
Stonehenge is not a Stargate, man.
It could be.
It's astronomical. Don't get me wrong. But there's only, I think, 2 or 3 actual Stargates that are supposed to be on this planet. And they will take you to other dimensions or other...
There used to be 4, because there's always a sister. Okay.
Right.
So if you have one, you have to have another. Because you have to have an exit point for the entrance point. Mm-hmm. So there has to be an even number of Stargates or they wouldn't work.
Not on this planet, there doesn't.
So how many Stargates are there, Keith? Is it 3 or 4?
It was 4, now it's 3 because Atlantis is no longer here.
Okay. I can buy that one. So Markham,
You gotta wonder, though.
What?
Yeah.
So what's your second question? We got 25 minutes left.
Okay. I kind of like to. I don't know. I'd kind of like to unravel that whole. Is Hollywood, or the film, not just Hollywood, but let's just say the film industry, the media in general, trying to create disclosure? You take a movie like Paul with the smart-ass E.T.
Right.
You know, that I love that movie. But I mean, you've got this. You know, he mentions in that movie about, you know, how they've been showing that face for 50 years, trying to get everybody used to it. You know, maybe the mainstream. Maybe there's something to that. Could there be? I mean, once it becomes okay. 100 years ago, that didn't exist. That type of fiction didn't exist. Mm-hmm. You read Algernon Blackwood, or you read even as far back as Jules Verne. I mean, you don't really have what the modern E.T. idea. You know, that comes out of the 50s. You start having the big-eyed monster E.T., and it's, you know, since the 50s to now, that has been such a cultural norm. And what did they call... I mean, we call flying saucers, UFOs, flying saucers, that happened in the 50s and 60s. But before that, they adapted their sightings to the technology that existed at the time.
Well, you know...
It was more like balloons, or, you know, they didn't have a concept of this flying vehicle, So when they did have a sighting, I'm thinking of that one in Texas where they actually buried the ET died.
Yeah, that was a blimp.
What did they call it? Yeah.
Or a starship. It wasn't even a starship. What did they call that? It was like a blimp. But, Keith is in the chat. He says it was Roddenberry, Lucas, Spielberg, Carter, and Roddenberry were the 4 directors. I think there's more than 4 though.
Oh, but come on. By far, Gene Roddenberry had way more information than the rest of them did. Like, thinking about even the names and the races and the different personality types of the different races, he would have had to have had more insight into that.
I mean, again, look at...
He had to have, because honestly, the guy was a crappy producer. He used the same fucking actors as different aliens.
He was
in different seasons.
He was sort of a
annoys
visible.
The hell out of me.
He was sort of a shyster, and he wasn't a very pleasant man. He was married to somebody while he was screwing Majel Barrett. Once he got rid of his first wife, and then married Majel Barrett, he was talking. Okay, here's a case in point that shows you the lack of moral character that Gene Roddenberry had. Visionary or not, Alexander Courage walked into his office and says, I've written this theme song for the show. And he, blah, blah, blah. During the conversation, Alexander Courage lays the score down on Gene Roddenberry's desk, and for whatever reason, got sidetracked or whatever, left that on Roddenberry's desk. Roddenberry grabs it, writes some god-awful lyrics just on the page underneath the score. Now he gets partial credit every time that's used. Alexander Courage wrote it and didn't have it copyrighted in time, and then by the time it gets copyrighted, there's these horrible lyrics that Roddenberry just put on there so he could sign under Alexander Courage, and lyrics by Gene Roddenberry. This guy would screw a snake if you'd hold its head for him. And it's obvious the way he did Alexander Courage that's true.
Yeah, but but why not? Okay, so I know that sounds
because it's dishonest, you jerk.
It might be dishonest, but if it has actually no bearing on, how do I put that? I don't. Never mind. We're gonna skip over that.
It's called crumb snatching. I mean, if you take the concept to a 3 or a third grader, and there's an inherent sense of fairness born into most humans.
Right.
And I think a third grader could tell you that's not right. That's called, that's crumb snatching.
That's cheating.
That's cheating. Yeah. There's just something fundamentally wrong about that. It's not like he worked with the composer. The composer had trusted him enough that he wouldn't screw him over, and and Roddenberry screwed him over.
So if, for instance, he was like best friends with, I'm just going to throw an alien race from Star Trek out there, a Talaxian, okay, or something of that nature. So if he was in communication with these other beings from other worlds all the time, all of them have very different moral concepts than we do. So in his mind, I'm not saying that he wasn't a dirtbag by any means, but who's to say that in his mind that wasn't just an everyday thing to do?
Really? A Talaxian wouldn't be best friends with him. They're nice people.
Not all of
them. I just...
You know what I'm saying, though. Like,
there's one shyster in the race.
If you're around people that act a certain way, or creatures, or whatever it is, that have a specific set of moral standards, then that's who you're around most of the time, then you are also going to end up doing some shiesty shit.
It's going to be ingrained.
Yeah.
Let's pick this apart for the last 15 minutes. So we have Chris Carter, who did X-Files, and we all know X-Files had a whole lot of truth to it. We have Spielberg, who did Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
And
Batteries
E.T.
not included. What else does Spielberg do?
Spielberg did E.T.
Yeah, E.T.
E.T.
Mm-hmm.
One of those, supposedly after it was aired in the White House.
Yes.
One of those, here again, it's one of those apocryphal stories that after a private showing of E.T.
to Reagan
in the White House, that Reagan looked at him and said, "You don't know how close to the truth you are."
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, that's a president. What's one president?
Now, was it E.T. or was it Close Encounters?
It was E.T., I believe.
I think it was E.T.
No.
actually. It might have been Close Encounters.
Because Close Encounters would have been closer to
I think I'd have to look it up.
reality than E.T.
It might
would
have been
been.
Close Encounters.
You don't know that. E.T. was
I
in Star
don't
Wars too.
remember.
You're right. I don't.
But see, I was in the Navy. I believe I was in the Navy when E.T. came out, and I believe Ronald Reagan was still the commander in chief. So I'm thinking either one. I mean, but at any rate, whatever the movie was, he told Spielberg, "You're closer to it than you think."
Yep. And, you take that, and then you factor in the speech that Reagan did to the UN Council about imagine if an outside...
An otherworldly force speech?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was E.T.
Was it E.T.?
It was E.T.
Well, let's not forget that they've been suppressing this for generations. The naval hero, Admiral Byrd,
Yep.
he was discredited. I
They-
mean,
they're
as
always
much of a hero as he was, and as high-ranking as they were, they couldn't really do too much. But, I mean, they made it out that he was delusional because the fuel from his cook stove was making... Yeah, they had some kind of...
Well, that's all they...
The same
that's all
thing
they
with
do.
all the Foo Fighters.
That's all they do is they either kill them or they discredit them. Look at again. Look at Lazar. How much they tried to discredit him for Element 117 and all the other stuff that he came out and talked about. You got Admiral Byrd. You've got they didn't try to discredit Reagan.
They threw Forrestal out They threw Forrestal out a damn window.
Absolutely, and that was with MK Ultra, I believe. Wasn't he the one that the CIA tried to...
I think what he was going... I think the version of that I heard is he had some information about extraterrestrials.
Okay, that
and
one's different. There's another one.
That's where he got tossed out the window to shut him up.
Yeah, because there's another one. From one of the videos I was watching, the CIA did dropped some LSD unknowingly to their employees, and the guy flipped out and wound up falling out a 20-story in Canada.
Yeah. Oops.
And not until the 70s or 80s did his wife find out that he was involved with MK Ultra unknowingly.
I think there's a lot more unknowingly involvement in
Well,
certain things than
anymore today.
people
You have
know.
to question training accidents, because anytime a soldier dies, that oops wasn't supposed to be there, or oops saw something too much, he died of a training accident.
Okay,
Crap,
but we
that
also
grenade
got to
was
think
live.
it's not only
Oh crap! That grenade was live.
Yeah.
Right?
But see, it's not only
Yeah.
soldiers though. It's a lot of different people and a lot of different importance levels and everything that random
Well,
accidents
yeah,
that should have
Forrestal was
never
Secretary of
happened.
Defense.
Yeah,
Or Secretary of War, I think they called it back.
right.
There, like I was saying earlier, when you have that first paranormal or you have that first experience, that you're convinced, in my mind, I'm convinced certain things exist now.
Mm-hmm.
It opens the door and you start, and it's like, it is like falling down the rabbit hole. It is like being Alice. Where does this stop?
Dude, we live in
You
the
know,
rabbit hole. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean it's.
No, we live in a
And
simulated
you try to
rabbit hole.
find the information about something, and I'm not so sure that the internet is doing us that much of a favor, because you pick a topic and say you want to do con, I want to do pro. Well, we can get into trying to find source material, and you go into it with a bias, you'll find source material that looks good, looks like it's real information. And how do you know? There's so much information out there now. You never hear a
and
prime
all of
source.
it is written by a 400-pound shut-in eating waffles and typing on Wikipedia.
Yep, Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Especially if it came on Wikipedia,
You gotta
it's
wonder.
gotta be real.
I almost wondered.
Well,
I
okay,
mean, I
so
think
look
there
at the...
there is a I think there is a I think there really is an organization out there whose job is to throw so much chaff out with the wheat that you really got to be a super scholar, or you never see prime. Like I said, you never see prime source material anymore.
No, and,
When I was working in my history degree, you could find written prime source material. This was written by, and we knew we could trust it. Now, there's no information out there you can trust. There's no. You try and find a paper trail, it doesn't exist.
Well,
it's really hard to do research
and come
up with something true.
They're blacking out huge chunks of our history too.
Yep.
Okay, so
yeah,
like the big thing for me is my kids. Okay, so they're taking world history and they're taking U.S. history and stuff like that, and they'll bring their textbooks home sometimes, and they'll be talking about an event that happened, something major. Okay, like the one that got me really bad was Pearl Harbor.
Yep.
Okay. And they're explaining some stuff to me, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, where did you find that? And they'll pull up their textbook, and their textbook has a whole, 2 paragraphs on Pearl Harbor. Mm-hmm. Versus, I don't know, the freaking 3 chapters or more that we had in our textbooks on Pearl Harbor.
Yep.
And all it has is
well,
the
now
basic
they're making
times
it all
sentence.
Our fault.
Yes.
It's all our fault now.
Yep.
And it is true that we were screwing with the Japs behind the line.
Mm-hmm.
Not overtly, but we were kind of trying to cut their fuel supplies off. We weren't real happy about what they were doing in China, the rape of Nanking, and it was, there was an attempt to isolate them from resources that they didn't have. By the same token, that doesn't mean you go and bomb a fleet on Sunday afternoon. But if you look at it, what was left in the harbor? What was left at Pearl Harbor was mostly older or obsolete ships. The cream of the crop was out in the ocean doing maneuvers,
right,
and wasn't in Pearl Harbor. So that lends a lot of credibility to me that Winston Churchill and FDR, both who had held had held office within the Navy departments of both their governments, got together and set this up because they knew the only way. Winston Churchill knew that the U.S. didn't get involved in World War II as an ally to the Brits. The Germans were going to end up steamrollering right over Great Britain. It took us to keep that from happening. We were the door jam.
Right.
And the two of them, you've got a sitting president whose economy is in the crapper, bread lines, people starving to death. What better way to get out of a depression than a war where you're going to get rid of a huge population of your 18 to 34, and you're going to get your weapons, you're going to have your industry kicking up because somebody's got to make the ships, make the guns, make the tanks, make the jeeps.
Yep.
That brings
Steel
you
industry.
out of a depression.
Weapons industry.
So,
and on that,
and
we only have 7 minutes left, so we're going to start wrapping her up.
Yep.
Goes too fast.
It always does, especially when you on the show.
Don't forget, everyone, we will be in Oregon, at Seaside, Oregon, for the Oregon Ghost Conference on March 27th through 29th. Get your tickets now at OregonGhostConference.com. Make sure you join us. We'll have our S4 booth up and ready every day, and we will have stuff to give away. We'll have stuff for sale, and we'll have a contest going there. So,
excellent. And don't forget, March 7th.
How many days y'all going to be out there?
3 days.
Yep.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, like I said, I'm 99.9% sure I'm going to be out there to help you guys run the booth.
Awesome. And don't forget, March 7th is our first S4 Expeditionary Team meeting with tacos.
Definitely tacos.
Gotta come get your tacos.
Oh. Man, I'll drive cross country for some tacos.
Right? And don't forget to check out our GoFundMe. We need funding for all the trips that we're going to be working on to prove UFO frequencies and Bigfoot frequencies. And we might even throw a haunting tour in there at some point.
I got one more thing.
What?
You thought you were going to get
Daddy
away with
needs
it,
a PCR.
What?
You thought you were going to get away with it.
What?
If everyone could help me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Eric. Happy birthday to you.
That was on the 18th.
Don't care.
Yeah.
God damn it.
You thought I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. It was a great birthday, actually.
Filled with pie.
Other than the fact that
So
I'm
much pie.
51 now.
Oh.
Anyway.
Well, the last one I had out there was a blast.
It was. I remember that. I've got pictures of that. No disproving that one. All right, so next week we have John coming on the show. He was supposed to be on tonight, but he was still on the road and he was sick as a dog. So he's going to shoot for next week. He's got some awesome stories. So for those that don't know, John is the one that was coming down Highway 20 here a couple of 3 weeks ago. Got an awesome picture of a UFO here over
Hamilton,
yeah. But he's got more than just us to talk about. He's had like 3 or 4 different UFO encounters and a Bigfoot encounter up at Grandy Lake. So I plan on going to Grandy Lake. Okay, there's a campground right there. That's where it happened. I'll let him tell the story.
Yeah.
But I know it was a good 9 foot tall that was walking around the other side of the lake. So anyway, thanks for listening. Without you guys, it just wouldn't be a fun show. I love looking at the geopolitical or the geo map and seeing what countries listen to us for, and it's cool. I love getting out there. So, see you next week. Stay safe, folks. And remember, keep your eyes to the skies.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on S4, the official voice of Forest Moon Paranormal. You can contact S4 through our website at www.s-4radio.com or on Facebook. Make sure you give us a like on our page and join the Forest Moon Paranormal group. If you are interested in advertising, take a look at our packages and contact Cole or Eric at 1-360-999-2830. Again, thank you. And remember, keep your eyes to the sky.